Good morning. It is Danger Dan here in the Talk Shop. I got a great show for you today with Josh Kurpius. He is just an amazing photographer. I'm sure you've seen his work, whether you realize it or not. If you've looked at anything that's got pictures of people riding choppers, motorcycles. He works for the Motor Co. now, Harley Davidson. He's based out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And I really enjoyed our conversation. Thank you, Josh. I'm glad we finally got to make this happen. Now, dates. I don't have a lot of dates for you, man. Everything's been getting canceled. Maybe the Memorial Day rally in Red River, New Mexico will happen. I got June 17th, the Gunstock Hill Climb at Laconia Bike Week. June 27th and 28th, Born Free. July 16th, 17th, and 18th is the Run to Raton. Now, I really hope these events happen. God, I hope these events happen because I want to get out and ride, dude. I hope that everybody is doing their part in helping, fucking get the show on the road. Speaking of shows, this show is brought to you by MC Shop Tees, your T-shirt of the month club. That's right, we are still shipping T-shirts out. We went through some extra precautions this month to make sure that you get a clean, quality product. Go to mcshoptees.com. You can use Danger Dan at checkout. Oh, fuck, the dry cough. Oh, no. And get $10 off your first month. We've got men's tees, women's tees, and kids' tees. You can use your old T-shirts as toilet paper and get fresh tees to wear every month by signing up now. Last month's featured shop was Magic Mike out of Las Vegas. Has anybody gotten their shirt yet? I haven't seen any post for this month, so I'm going to keep it quiet. It should be hitting the mailboxes now. Wednesday, yeah, definitely by now. This show is also brought to you by Brown Cycles, which was our first featured shop with MC Shop Tees. They've been a family-owned and operated business since 1970. That's 50 years. Red Eye's been there for 20 years, building panheads, shovel heads, knuckleheads, flatheads, and race motors. Jake and Scott are both veterans of the Afghan and Iraq War. And those are the dudes you want working on your bike. David Brown is taking parts orders. Right now, they are an essential business. Of course they are. They're a motorcycle shop. That is definitely essential. But if you don't want to go down there in person and you need some work done on something, like I need some heads and cylinders done, I'm boxing them up and just sending them to them. It's like $30 in shipping. And I called up, or I didn't call anybody. I set it up through the internet. The post office is going to come pick up these boxes today and take them for me. I don't have to go anywhere. So that is an option for you, or you can go down there. Give them a call first and, make sure that, dude, just touch base with them before you go down there. But I'm pretty sure it's business as usual. Don't fucking go down there if you're sick. Don't be getting my boy sick, all right? This show is also brought to you by Motorcycle Sherpa. That's right. Do you want to win a trip to Nepal? Do you want to ride motorcycles on the other side of the planet? Do you want to climb to the highest heights on some of the baddest bikes on the planet? Dude, go to motorcyclesherpa.com. I will be giving away a trip to Nepal at the end of the year. You got to go to DangerDansTalkShop.com, sign up to be a patron at the $5 tier. Every $5 you donate towards the show gives you another chance at winning. Yeah, that's right. I'm giving away a trip to Nepal thanks to Bear and Booty over at Motorcycle Sherpa. You can also go to DangerDansTalkShop.com and sign up for just $1 a month. Now, any support that you throw my way through Patreon gives you a chance at winning badass shit. Like we give away lowbrow customs packs every single month. Jason won one last week. Who's going to win a knife made by Nick this month? We've been giving away knives made by Nick for 2 years now. Nick, thanks for all the support, dude. I really appreciate it. High Seas Jerky, that's right, dude. He has got your jerky supplies, and this would be a great time to stock up, dude. Some of that trail meat. Use Danger Dan at checkout to get 15% off your order at highseasjerky.com. All right, so I think that's it, man. Let's get into this show with Josh Kurpius.
Kurpius, thanks for having me over, man.
Yeah.
We've been trying to do this for a minute now, huh?
Yeah, well, we're always crossing paths, going opposite directions, it seems.
Yeah. Well, the first time we linked up, do you remember that?
That was at Dan's,
At
right?
Bacon's, yeah. Fuck yeah. Going to Giddy Up.
Yeah.
Dude, and what's funny, remember that, I think you asked me, like, are we going to go the back road or the fucking freeway or 281?
Yeah.
Since then, I do not take the route we take. Because from Bacon's house, there's the most epic road all the way there. Like Old Spicewood Road.
Yeah.
You go past Hamilton's Pond, dude, Devil's Backbone. Like all the roads like take you right to the campground. Like the best roads down there. It's good.
Yeah, those are always the ones you're seeking, and you never know until you hang out for a little while or know someone there.
Well, and you said the way you asked me, I thought you knew about those roads.
Oh, well, I think I looked at the map. I was
Yeah,
like, let's go, let's check out that. But I think we were all in a hurry just to get down there.
Yeah.
Because the sun was already like getting
Yeah, it was
low.
fading. It was fading. It took us a lot longer to get to that point. I came in with a crew of dudes and traveling with a crew of dudes.
Yeah. And when you're that close, you're like, fuck, I just want to fucking get there.
Yeah,
because
especially when it's a party like that, dude.
Fuck all the fucking
Giddy Up. That wasn't
and-
your first Giddy Up, I imagine.
No, it wasn't.
That was a good one.
And I was on a mission on that one.
You
for
succeeded
sure.
on that one,
man,
dude.
that probably was one of the wildest night. One of the nights there was probably the wildest nights of my life. Probably, I've had many of them, but that one
was
in
a
particular.
good one, dude. I didn't think they were gonna let us back at that campground after that night, dude.
I went in with the mentality of I'm not gonna say no to put anything in my face, up my face, on my face, and I went full on into that motto.
Dude, I remember somebody recorded. I was like asleep, dude, when the shit was really going on. But I remember waking up to hearing a burnout, right?
Yeah.
And then I kept hearing this burnout.
Yeah.
And then I kept hearing some guy yelling.
Yeah.
And they had recorded, like, I guess the campground dude yelling at everybody. And then we're playing that on a loudspeaker for the rest of the night or some shit.
Well, my story, it started so early, and it's like, I didn't even have to ask for the things that I was looking for. They were just showing up, And and man, I mean at that point, it's probably one of the wilder parts of my life, everything all the way around. And I was just in Daytona, and I made it back. I'm like, I wasn't planning on going down there. I was like, fuck it, I'm just going to rip down. And I ended up, because I just got back from Daytona, I just threw my bike in the back of the truck, actually, and got down to Bacon's. And then, which is something I rarely ever do. I was like, if I'm going to go somewhere, I'm going to ride somewhere,
Yeah.
But I was like, I just went through a situation, and I was like, I just need to get down there. And so I got down there, and then, there was one part of the night when I was lit. I was on. Somebody had a chocolate bar, a mushroom chocolate bar. I was snacking on that. And so somebody said, "Hey, Josh, isn't that your bike somebody's pushing over into the bathroom?" And I was like, "Nah, my bike's parked over there." I never take the key out of it. I'm like, it's anybody's gonna ride that. They got enough balls to ride it and can figure it out. Then more power to them.
That's what I always say. I just have a switch on mine.
Yeah.
What if somebody steals it? Like, I want to meet that person.
Yeah. So anyway, I then look and I realize it's my bike that I just see in the tail end of my bike being pushed into the bathroom. And the bathroom had this like wall. You know how at campgrounds they'll have a wall, kind of like a little wall in front of the door just so you can't see in, but you got to go around it. So they're trying to shimmy my 10-foot bike around to get into the bathroom. And by the time I got over there was already a crowd kind of developing, and Obrono, who is you know, he at the time he was a friend, acquaintance. He's good friends with my friends, but like, you don't touch somebody's bike.
No.
You know, that's just something you do not fucking do. And I'm probably at the peak of my high at that point. And so I go over there, and he's like just turning the key, and he's got it up against the wall, and he's going to do a burnout on my bike. Because that's, I guess, what he would do with his friends. That's what they do to each other. It's just, like, I respect my motorcycle. Yeah. I would never do that to my motorcycle or anybody else's motorcycle unless...
Especially somebody else's motorcycle.
Yeah, I know. That you don't even... I mean, you're not... I'm close with him now, you know? But when that happened, the bike turned out... It was in gear. He had his hand on the clutch, and he's revving it up. And I had him by the throat, and I had him pushed back against that little wall, like back through the bath. Now a whole crowd has developed.
Yeah.
And you know, there's a lot of friends there, and shit's going on, and I'm out of my mind. And I had him by the throat, and finally I was like, "Get off the fucking bike so I can show you how it's done." So he's like, yeah, and like everyone's coming up, and as soon as I threw my leg over the bike, that park warden dude who had a gun on his side, it's fucking Texas, comes up and he sees me on the bike and everyone's cheering. And dude, he was right up in my face. I'm like, oh, this is how it's gonna go, you know? So like, I just kind of ignored him, and he like was losing his mind.
You're doing a burnout, right? At this point?
At that point, well, actually, he kind of saved it, you know, because like I wouldn't even have done a burnout on my own bike.
Yeah.
Actually, the one time I've done a burnout, because people ask me all the time, like, dude, you ride an Ironhead all over the United States. Like,
you're the only person I know that has ridden an Ironhead all over the United States.
Yeah, and they're like, what do you do? I was like, I just fucking respect it, you know?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I act like a fool sometimes. There's a time and a place for it. I remember the first time I got that bike, the first year I had it in Sturgis, County Line, Broken Spoke County Line. My morning ritual was to fix all shit I broke on it the night before. But I was like, hey, I built it, I can fix it. That was my attitude, you know? That's like my first, that is my first motorcycle. I was riding my dad's. But back to the, I'm getting sidetracked.
No, keep going.
Back to the story. So we shimmy it out of that bathroom, and I'm out of my mind. I'm seeing flashes of color. I'm seeing shit, you know, and
especially with all that energy, dude. People around you. That dude was charged.
And you know, there was that fire. It was basically a fire of empty I don't even know what was burning.
It was
in there.
trash. I went over there the next morning. I was like, hey, where are the like, what's burning right here?
So I got on the bike. I started it up, and I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna get out of here. So I went to take off. I fell over, and somebody like took me by the sissy bar, flipped it back up, and I started it again. Went through that fire, down, out to that road. You know how crazy that road is.
Yeah.
I'm out of my mind.
Like out of the campground.
Out of the campground. I went all the way back down to Icebreakers or whatever it's called. Ice House. I rode that thing, and I'm seeing flashes of colors, and like, and I'm out of my mind, and I'm like, dude, this is probably the stupidest thing. Like, I had a clarity moment, you know. I was like, all right, it's time to turn this thing around and get back to the campground and just fucking park it.
Well, you can still find it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, people fuck themselves up on that road when they're stone sober, getting back to the campground.
Every year.
So I made it back and partied well into the night, and that whole situation happened too. Same guy. He was already, you know, his mind was already gone by then. He was like losing it on everybody. And then, Brona, he was the same dude that caused that whole situation you're talking about. Because he had his bike against the wall, just doing a burnout. And
that's why they were going in the restroom, because that's the only piece of concrete to actually do a burnout over there.
But, you know, and then, you know, you end up in the tent with a lady, and, you know, like the whole situation.
On the river.
Like, it's like you couldn't have made it up. Yeah, but, you know, those were times in my life is completely different now. In a way, it's like the same but different. You know, I work for a big corporation now, and I can't, you know, actually it's really finicky. Like if I were to stub my toe on a job or break my toe or whatever, it's immediate drug test like that. And actually, we were just in Daytona. A guy, maybe I shouldn't get into all this, but, you know, simple, stupid little accident, you know, and something, it was instant drug test, boom, you lose your job, you know. So I don't play around with that stuff anymore at all, really. So But there was a time in my life when we had, you know, our family of friends, man, it just started out as just a really natural, gradual thing where, hey, you like motorcycles, I like motorcycles. And then it was like, kind of like there were some Triumph guys and some Harley. This was like 2005.
Where did you grow up?
So I grew up outside of here. So we're in Milwaukee right now. It's about equal distance. It's like a triangle. So I grew up near Rockford, Illinois, in the cornfields, middle of nowhere. It's about 100 miles to Chicago, and it's 100 miles to Milwaukee. So I lived in Chicago, went to school in Chicago. So I was in there for about 5 years.
Chicago's a fun place.
Yeah, it is. It is for sure. But for me, I grew up in a small town. It's just too congested for me.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
I couldn't imagine living there. Like
Yeah.
visiting.
Oh, yeah.
Like the first couple times it was overwhelming, but then when they meet somebody that can show you around a little bit, dude, the roads that aren't completely fucked to ride on.
Yeah. It's fun. It's great. And that was the thing. I was still living there was a number of years I was just living on my bike. So when I would come back, that's where I would be. And we had a thing that just developed, and it was all about just getting, because it's so expensive, like all these cities now. It's like, okay, well, let's all chip in on a place. We'll all have our like 15 by 15 foot plot where we work on our bikes. We have the machine shop area over here, and that's what it was. It was like, let's work on the bikes. So we all have a place.
When did you guys do that?
That started in like 2004, 2005.
Okay.
And then, you know, like I said, it was like there was some Triumph. It was just like who had a motorcycle and kind of had a common interest. We all like choppers, you know.
Yeah.
So,
Was there a name for the shop?
so
The spot?
it evolved into, well, it used to be an old post office in Chicago, and it was in the shitty part of town. Well, now it's like the spot to be, and basically it happened every time. Like you would convince somebody to let you rent it because it was not being used. It was like that post office was just full of shit, you know, and the guy finally cleared his shit out of there. Well, then you go in there and start building it out a little bit and putting a little love into it, and then all of a sudden he's like, oh shit, I'm sitting on gold mine
Yeah.
here. So then boom, you're out, and then some highfalutin things pulled in there. But yeah, we called it the post office, and then there was the shop, you know, so we kind of moved, and then we met up with some other guys, and then it turned into Bravetown.
Bravetown.
Yeah, so that was the Chicago thing. Like we had a shop that was kind of right on a corner, and these were some like older guys. They were like they came from they were, you know, just an older generation of guys. They were more into British bikes, and they're pretty intense dudes, you know. We were just like
choppers though.
Yeah, choppers, and they were called Fear City, like that's what they called themselves.
Fear City.
Fear City. They have Fear City choppers. They would build bikes, and they had a basement spot, and they, you know, the city gentrifies, they get kicked out of there, ended up in this spot. It was a big spot. They needed kind of some help filling it. So anyway, we like kind of the same things, but like attitudes just clash. We were just all about having fun. Just like, hey, let's have fun. Let's, you know, party, have fun. We weren't serious about it at all. It's like, oh, hey, I need this part. It wasn't like, oh, that's not the cool chopper part I need. But hey, it gets me on the fucking road, and now we're ripping through the city, or we're riding around the lake.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the first big ride that we ever did, and we had a chase vehicle. This was 2005 or 6.
Okay.
We all decided we're going to ride around Lake Michigan, and we had a chase vehicle. We were all these Triumphs. Of course, all the Triumphs broke like immediately, and they're like on the trailer.
What were you on?
I was on my dad's 1969 FLH.
Oh, bad.
Yeah, that's what I learned to ride on.
No shit.
Yeah, and it's all original paint, all stock.
Did he quit riding, or did he just get something else?
He had just a cherry 79 Super Glide. And then I think he was riding that around. Some dude saw him like riding it. He's like, oh, I got this shovel head in the garage, and turned out it was a 69, and it's just a beautiful bike. He still has it, and that's what I learned to ride on. That's what I was mostly riding. And then I kind of was like leaning more into the chopper stuff, so I started riding that Super Glide. Man, that thing was fucking cherry, and that was kind of when I was starting to get a little bit more wild, you know. And so that bike a little bit more beat up now. Yeah. But then, you know, and then he had his Ultra Classic for a while, but he worked out on the road, and he would ride through the winter, like, because that was his
winter up here.
Yeah, And I remember some like friends when I was younger, like, oh, your dad's that crazy dude that rides in the winter, you know?
Yeah.
And so anyway, but that first ride around the lake, it just was like all the Triumphs were on the trailer. And then it turned into a fucking mess trying to get that trailer to, because this was before iPhones and all that, you know, like you could, like now.
Nobody had just maps.
Yeah, yeah, we had a paper map, you know, like we'd stop and we'd look at that thing, and then trying to like communicate with the truck, it was a shit show. And by the end of that trip, it was like, boom, the Triumph guys went one way, and like all the guys.
That was the split. That was the divide.
Yeah. And, you know, it was just a natural thing. It wasn't like, fuck you guys, this or that. It was just like, they just were like, okay, we're going to do our thing over here. You guys do your thing over here.
There's just two different priorities happening here.
But this was before that Fierce City group. The Fierce City group was like, that was like the shop before. Then we moved to the Fierce City group, and they were into British stuff. And they were pretty intense dudes. I mean, they partied, but they were just like, it was like a whole intense kind of vibe. I don't know. Good dudes, but like, we just were doing a different thing. And, so were you learning
a lot from those guys, or was it just like help having a shop?
Just having
a
the place to be, you know?
Yeah.
And then this shop opened up right across the alley, and it was right next to the Exit Chicago, which is a bar there that's like the underground. It was like the punk bar, the metal bar, the kind of like the underground bar that is the popular underground bar that people would go to. So like, right out the back door is where the shop would be, and they were here, we were across the alley, and one of the guys that was kind of mutual was like, oh, that's how the name came to be. It was those guys are Fierce City, but you guys are Brave Town, you know, because like you guys would go out and ride your bikes and go for long trips. And by that time,
scared.
Yeah, by that time we were like, after that first trip, we're like, no more chase truck, never. We're never gonna have a chase vehicle because of that situation. And then we started.
Yeah, because when people have the option of just
then it's
giving
too easy.
up.
Yeah, and so then by then we were doing trips to California on our choppers, and then I had my Ironhead at that point, and I was just like, boom, just go like, and then the spot was like, okay, we have our bikes here, but we're all here. Where's the booze? Oh, the drugs are in the corner, you know, like, so then there's a whole different dynamic that started. And then we got kind of kicked out of that place, and now they're in a spot. The spot is still there, and it's been there for years, and full on bar. Like it's got a huge bar in it, and it's just.
The shop does?
Yeah. So, and it's upstairs. You got to go upstairs to this loft, and we built this loft, so it's Chicago. So there's a 5 a.m. bar on the weekends, 5 a.m. So, and one of the guys that's part of the shop helped build that bar out. And there's only a few places that have the liquor license till 5 a.m. So party there, walk over the shop after that. And there was no sleep. Like we were just doing it around the clock.
Yeah.
And then, it just naturally happened where a friend would bring a friend in and they would be hanging out. And like, it wasn't like we ever told anybody, hey, you can't hang out here. It was like, oh, your vibe fits our vibe. We're all having a good time. We have no attitude. It's just, hey, let's have fun. We're not serious about it. You know, some guys would come in, they'd be super serious about motorcycles. And they just want to talk about motorcycles all the time. Or like, you should do this, you should do that. Like, that just didn't fit our vibe.
Yeah.
We're like, hey, cool, you got a bike. Okay, let's talk about women or chicks or drugs or whatever. Or just bullshitting. Like, and there's no serious conversation. So those people would come and go, but we had a family, and then, it started getting faster and faster and faster. And
how big was that crew?
Well, it was it got up to about 20, like super tight, super.
Was there ever like a club type situation where did it come up? Like,
because, the Outlaws were right down the way.
Yeah.
And where I was at in Rockford is a really weird area because there is, there's the Outlaws and the Angels, and there's different clubs, and those two clubs they're just not kosher,
Yeah.
So it creates a weird environment, but we're just friendly with everyone.
I guess having that kind of situation going on, you didn't want any kind of there's no need for
exactly. So we're all inviting, there's Outlaws in there, and we're good with them, but being a traveler, I mean, I'm sure guys are in all the different clubs, you know, and it's like I respect you as a person and a motorcyclist, and that's what it is, and no judgment, So, but they kind of saw what we had, and it was kind of like, oh wow, that's cool. We like hanging out here. It's just a good time party,
Yeah.
And it's still there. It's in Chicago.
Still going,
oh yeah,
huh?
and there's late nights there still because it's. So what happened was there was even a band that formed out of it. Like, oh, you play guitar, oh, you play drums, and they all just kind of like switched, and because it's just basically a group of guys that were all either artists, tattoo artists, have their own construction companies or what. So we're all like, we just go at the drop of a hat. Like, hey, you wanna ride around the lake? You wanna ride to California? And we would just all go. It's just a crazy time where everyone was on that same page. And then this band kind of formed out of it, and then it was like, dude, they just kind of recorded it themselves. They did the album art, and then Metal Blade was like, hey, shit, we'll just repackage this and put it out. Just get 2 more songs together, put it on there, and so then all of a sudden there was like world tours, tour all over the U.S. And
What was the name of the band?
Mount Salem.
Okay.
And it was a female vocalist who actually she has a shop here in Milwaukee now, and then. Kyle's tattoo artist, and actually the 2 guys, they're on their way up right now. They're in LA, and basically what happened was like it just got too fast and too much. And one by one it was like I need to like separate myself from this a little bit. I need to get in a clearer space.
Yeah.
And it's funny now because we did one trip, and this is one trip that sticks out in my head where it was one of my most amazing trips. Was we rode because we then had a friend buy a property in Colorado, and he started up a snowboarding business. Or he made snowboards, and we had some friends in LA at that point. So like Golden, Colorado, it's just like the middle point. So we would all like when we started splitting up, Modem ended up in California, so it was like we would just meet up there, and then so. That was kind of our first stop. And, it was Born Free is always the reason to go out there, especially then. Like, yeah. And I've been going since number 1, and it's just.
You've been to all of them?
I missed one. I was in Italy for a friend's wedding, know.
Yeah.
But the first one, it's funny because the bikes have changed so much. And like my bike, when I built that, people weren't into long choppers. They weren't into that. They weren't rabbit ear handlebars, and I didn't like that either. That's just the shit I had laying around that was available to me, and I didn't have a penny, so that's what. And I was like, I'm going to build a 70s style chopper. So I won. I got it. Actually, I got it. I got the tag from the first show, and I won most outrageous or something.
Really? Your bike was in the first one?
Yeah, I got it sitting right. I'll show it to you.
Okay.
But it's sitting right over there. Most outrageous chopper.
So when you built that, did you? I mean. Because at first riding an Ironhead around the country seems ridiculous to build. Yeah. To build that, because you build an Ironhead, it's not it costs just as much money to build a big twin, but they just don't seem to be as worth money.
To get into it is.
But that's what I've said later on. Like, dude, it's such a great idea to build a bike around an Ironhead because you can buy the next motor for next to nothing.
Well, that's what happened. I got a different motor in mine. I was just, it's just like boom. I had one of the gears blow up in the transmission. And then when that happens, it blows out the case. You know, so I will put the original motor back in it because it's got my most memories on it. It needs a little welding on the back of the case, but yeah, it was just like Well, the only problem is with those, they've changed little things like so much over the years. Like where I needed to find, because mine's a 77. Okay. I needed to find either a 77 or a 78 because of I had a mechanical brake, and it was it's a left side shift. So like they were moving all that stuff around through all those years. So like in 79 they went to disc brake, and then the year before that, like they had all that crazy linkage to get that shifter over to the other side. Yeah. So I was like, shit, I gotta find a 70s. But
I think I had a 75 at one point, and it was 75 or 76. It was like a 1 year only with a bunch of the weird shit.
Yeah, 75 and 76 had that fucking weird thing that to make it shift on the other side that had all that weird linkage.
Yeah, is that what it was?
Yeah, but we got way sidetracked, but I wanted my own motorcycle, but I was just out of college and I just couldn't and I went through. Actually, I got it right. I just got married out of college, and my dad actually knew of a guy. He was down on his luck, and I think I paid $1,700 for it, which I would never pay that much for a pile. It was a pile of parts.
Yeah.
But the guy was like, "Yeah, man, it's been. I had the machining done by so and so. It's a 1,200," and I was like, "Yeah, whatever." You know, like, pff, yeah. And I was like, "It's a fucking Ironhead. I'm gonna be the guy that's always like can't keep up, always broke down." And then he said, like, "Yeah, the guy I bought it from would always ride it down to Texas and back." I'm like, "Yeah, you're bullshitting," you know, like. But he had and I didn't know anything about gearing back then. But he had a 20, well, it was a 23 tooth sprocket because I put 24s on the tranny sprocket now, and it's pretty much that's the biggest one that you can fit in there.
Inside there.
And so I ended up going up to 24 a little bit later on when I kind of figured out gearing.
Yep.
And man, I mean, people all the time on their big twins are like, "Dude, fuck, what the fuck? Slow down, you know, what's up with this fucking bike?" And because it's such a small bike, it's fast around town. It's fast on it's, you know, it'll go on the highway.
You can gear it to like that and it's light enough to get itself going.
Yeah, yeah. And you know, it was just, I don't know, something about that motor that like everyone I rode with was like, "What the fuck?" You know? And you know, you just take care of it and treat it well. It treats you well back, you know. And,
well, and you said it earlier, like I've been riding my vintage iron around, and people ask me how I'm able to do it. Like, well, I just ride at the bike's pace, you know. Like, like when you ride with other people, you want to keep up with them, and people start pushing their bikes more than what they should be. When I ride with a lot of people now, I'm like, I'm gonna go at like the pace that I've got my bike set up to go at.
Yeah,
you know?
I don't know. I can't really say that for me. I'm always like, I'm gonna just go faster. I'm gonna go fast. Probably not so much anymore.
But I think also like having the RPMs up like gets the oil flowing too. Like people sometimes don't. They ride a long period of time with the RPMs down, and it's never their oil's not circulating fast enough, and that may not be all true, but it seems to be working for me. Because
and too, it's just a matter of, I have friends too that they're like, every time you see them, they're like taking something apart to like, "Oh, I need to get in here and I need to make sure this is tight." Well, it's not falling off, so I think it's fine. But every time you do that, then you risk the chance of it like, "Oh, okay, now it's gonna fall off," because, or they're sitting there tweaking shit. They're like, "I don't know," like they just think they have to. And they're like, "What do you do to yours?" I'm like, I don't touch it. Like it runs fine. I don't touch it. I have always had a problem with points in the weights. Yeah. But excuse me.
Yours had the generator on it, huh?
Yeah. In all fairness, so that's the other thing. When you ride an Ironhead, no one wants those fucking things. So they're like, "Hey man, I was looking for knucklehead parts or panhead parts. There's a whole pile of Ironhead shit in there." And of course, nobody touches it. By the time like somebody's trying to clear something out, they just want to get it out. So like, I have mountains of that shit. But in one of the loads I got a bushel bag of points from the 70s. There's just a bag of
just new points
and condensers, all of it, you know. And not weights, but anyway. So I would just throw and they would wear out really quick. So, but then when you have those weights explode, you know, or the
little spring goes out and the weights fly open,
or the little bolt breaks off in there, and you got to fish
and
you got to fish that fucking thing out.
It's the smallest little bolt. And it's got the big head, and you got the 3/8 inch wrench on it. It's like they're the ratchet. Like, that's what I learned. Like, just tighten it with the 1/4 inch ratchet. Like, it's smaller. It just he keeps you from turning it that extra bit. But you don't want that shit to fall off either.
Yeah. It's like, it's not tighter the better. Yeah. So I mean, that's the only real problem I've had with those. You know, just.
I remember one time when I first started following you, after Bacon's, I guess it was. You like. Something happened with your generator, and you had to rebuild the brushes.
Oh yeah,
and you were looking for some shit, and you ended up pulling something together.
Well, this was in Sturgis probably, if I remember, because I run Cycle Electric, never had a problem, but I was down in Dayton, and You know the Lead Sled guys, Pat?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I know you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I learned to drink Jack Daniels. Old Pat. But anyway, he's like, I'll just run over there. And
you can learn a lot from Pat when it comes to drinking.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, he set me up, but it was like kind of a faulty aperture, or I'm talking photo terms, armature. Anyway, it had a little. Anyway, I ended up taking it because I didn't have any money then, and but it just kind of wore out the magnet, and so I was in Sturgis and I couldn't find. They were gonna have to order it, and I needed a ride right then and there, and so I took apart a starter, and then wired it in, but like. I didn't have a right spring or something, or the right tension, so I stuck a rock in there to put tension on it.
Come on.
And it worked, you know. So it got me by. But I had a couple of them in my pocket, so I just kept switching out those magnets.
Nice.
But yeah, I mean, typically you would never have a problem with a cycle-electric generator.
I had some generator trouble on the way to Born Free this year.
I mean, it's inevitable, you know.
Yeah. I was running one of those Frank's Electric, you know, the cask.
Yeah.
I just didn't want to fucking put the Cycle Electric on there. It worked so good.
Yeah.
And I took it apart. I thought I fixed it. I was at my buddy's shop. And it fixed it just long enough for me to get out of town and into the desert and then be stranded.
Yeah.
You know, I got the Cycle Electric now. That's the way to go.
Yeah, it is.
It's fucking
They're
done.
bulletproof.
It's done, dude.
But I guess that brought me back to, I guess what we were originally talking about was this trip that was like, it was so epic that...
Going to Golden?
And I don't ever say epic, but it was something like that. Where, and I had to split out, because I had a job to do up in, like, just north of Portland. So I rode into Portland, and then it was Dirtquake. And that, I don't know, I think maybe it was the second Dirtquake or the first Dirtquake. And that night was... I mean, just going back, kind of the same giddy up thing, you know, like it was one of those nights.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. I rolled into town, and like right away I pulled into, I was like, okay, I'm going to go to CC because that's the spot. If you don't know where to go, somebody will tell you where to go. And, you know, there's a cutie there, and she pulled out a bottle of whiskey out of her bike, and she's like, I'll show you around town, you know. And it's like, man, I got to work tomorrow, but make sure by the time I get out there, you're not so far gone that you don't know where you're at by the time I get out there.
She said that to you?
Yeah, and I was like, oh yeah, I'll be cool. I'll be cool. So then, you know, I was waiting all day, you know, and then the races ended, and then shit was starting to go on in the pits, and like somebody handed me a bottle of Jack, and by the time she showed up, I didn't even know where I was at, and she took one look at me and was like, oh man, you're a mess, but you're cute. And there was like this little man bridge you'd go across. I was ripping across that on my bike, got over there, and then so I was by myself, and then rode down the 395, which is amazing. I went through Bend and then down to meet up with all my friends that had left Golden, and we met up in Tahoe.
Oh, nice.
And so met up there, and then rode down into LA, and then got to the Chun, and like we'd been on our bikes already for like a week and a half, or you know, we were doing that ride and stopped in Golden, you know, we didn't sleep since we left. Got there and it was a party, and we didn't have a place to stay, so we just slept on the couches there, and then you know, Todd and Snake, they're like, damn, you guys are so we hit it off with them, you know, and we're still really cool with them. But then there was this not Halloween, 4th of July party. We're like, oh fuck, we'll just stay till 4th of July. And there's this party over here. Actually, that's where I met O'Brono, because he was lighting off these fucking half sticks of dynamite. That's his fucking thing at this pool party.
Okay.
You know, LA pool party. You walk in and it's like it's like a pool full of girls and then dudes. You're like, okay, well they're all here with their dude. Yeah. Well, everyone was there to find somebody. You know, by the end of it, like, needless to say, a lot of the 5 of those guys didn't ever come back. They're like, I'm staying here.
Oh, you know? Yeah, they were on the trip with you?
Oh, yeah. One of them made it back, rode, and followed a girl up to San Francisco, and then cut across by himself. He was on his generator shovel, and made it back, but he's out there. He's been out there since. All those guys, you know, it's just like, they just and too, it's like they kind of used it to get away from all the craziness, which you wouldn't think LA would be a great spot to do that. But everyone's on a
just
good level.
Just start new someplace else.
Yeah.
No matter where it's at, really, if you want the right track.
Yeah. And everyone now is just like on a really good level. Everyone's like cleaned up, I should say, healthy, and we still get together. We still do it up. But, it's like we just kind of had to separate that group for a while, It got too fast. So Bravetown is still there. And it's a different group of guys, but they're all great dudes. They're into bikes and into chop. I mean, it's a chopper deal, and the bar's still there, and it's late night.
And it's like an actual commercial, like open to the public
bar?
No.
Okay.
Oh,
I should. Yeah, no. We have our own bar there. Okay. But then when
I think they're like the 5 a.m. bar. That's not in the shop.
The 5 a.m. bar would close down, and then we'd all go to that the shop.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah. And then the sun's up, and yeah.
So during all this, when did you start fucking snapping pictures and documenting it?
It was all kind of before all this. I didn't know anybody. I remember my dad would have the Horse magazine, and he was checking that out, and I didn't know anything about anything. Maybe I'd seen some David Mann paintings, like in the bathroom of some garage or gas station or something when I was young,
Mm-hmm.
And those would always stick out in my head. And then I started seeing that. My dad had the bikes, and then it actually wasn't until it was my 20th birthday. My dad was like, I think my brother I caught wind that my brother went for a little ride. And I was like, what the hell? Like my younger brother, well, he's a year younger than me. I was like, and we're complete opposites too. I love him, but he's like,
he rides though?
No, he doesn't now. But he got to ride before I did, And so he had that Super Glide and then the FLH. So that was kind of like his bike, and I had mine. That we could ride. So anyway, it was my 20th birthday. I remember, and I was tooling around in the yard, and the grass was slick. I was sliding also. I was like, whoa. And he's like, all right, let's get on the road. And I remember being terrified. This is terrifying, but I fucking love it. And I never wanted to stop from that point. But right about that time, I was also, I was actually in school for jewelry, metalsmithing. But then I took a photo class.
Like college school in Chicago?
This was in a middle of nowhere cornfield college.
Okay.
It was a community college. But they had a few great art teachers. And I finally took a photo class, and then it was all film, so black and white.
Like black room shit.
Yeah, dark room. You would develop your stuff, and it was an autopsy table. That's what it was. You're standing around. But I actually remember some of the first photos I ever took as part of that class, and I had no experience in taking photos other than like a point and shoot. Mm-hmm. The first assignment, I remember it was 9/11. Because I remember that happening. It was a beautiful fucking day. And then I had planned to go out. It's what you do when you first take photos. You go to the cemetery, So I'm like taking photos.
Really? That's like the...
Yeah, it's like you get a camera.
I don't know. I never took photos.
Yeah, but, you find a chick that wants to take her clothes off. That's the whole motivation, right? No. But I remember that, and but it was right at that time when I was already riding, and then had the camera, and and I didn't know anybody else that rode. I didn't know. I would live in the middle of nowhere, and I was young compared to.
So this was 03, right? Because didn't that when 9/11 happened? Was it 03, 02 or 03?
Yeah, right around there. But I didn't know anybody. I rode by myself everywhere, and I loved it. That's all I wanted to do. That's all I wanted to do was ride. And, just to get to school, it was like 30 miles one way. And it was all cornfields, so I'd be riding there. I'd show up and do my classes. And my dad was pretty much like, hey, if you're going to ride it, you be responsible. And I didn't drink then. I didn't, my family... I think I don't know why, but my family on my dad's side had some drinking issues, I think, growing up. And I saw all my friends, like, they're getting fucked up all the time. I was like, I'll drive you there and I'll party. I'll drink Mountain Dew all day. Yeah. So, like, then I think my dad trusted me. Like, okay, he seems pretty, I mean, I could have been doing anything. Who knows, you know, but.
Oh, they know, dude.
Yeah.
They know, dude. Yeah. Well, I remember my dad always telling me, dude, I know, you can't hide. I'm like, you have no idea. Now I look back, I'm like, oh, he fucking knew everything.
Well, my dad would know too, you know.
Yeah.
But he's been sober since I was born. Really.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but
he definitely would have known.
I heard the stories, like, and now he kind of like brings out some of those stories. But you know, small town, and I knew I was friends with would be my friend's dad back then. So she heard the stories, and then I got relayed the stories, and then I was, oh, Dad, what's up? You know, oh, let me tell you about that. You know, like, but so. Then I was just riding, and then
like carrying the camera to school. Did you have a
camera?
Yeah,
so that was the thing. Like, I didn't have anybody to shoot, so I'd shoot the front fender or the gas tank or
like while you're riding.
Yeah, while I'm riding. That's kind of where it started. It's like I'd just be carrying the camera, just because I didn't want it vibrating around attached to the bike. And I still to this day I won't attach anything, especially to a rigid chopper or a sissy bar. I won't attach a camera or anything to that bike because it just vibrates. It'll vibrate it to death and it won't work. So I always have it strapped to me. It's always on my body. It soaks up the vibration. So I always had it on me just to go to where I was going or go to class. And I just started snapping photos that way. And then a little, you know, time would go on and meet somebody, but they're all way older than me, and they all rode baggers, basically, stock bikes. My cousin got it was a chopper. So I'd photograph him, and then it started more. And then when I had already moved back out of Chicago, and then met this Will. Well, we call him Chicago. He's in LA now. He's been out there the longest of all of us. And he's kind of the one that started up Bravetown to open up. Him and my friend Brian convinced the guy to open up that shop to us. And he's actually on his way up here now. Still good friends with him. I saw him. He had a panhead chopper, and he was backing it in. I was going to a show. There was this. It's the Six Corners in Chicago. It's a weird intersection, and he was backing it in. I was like, oh man! And I'm not the type to ever really approach anybody. Yeah. But I'd never seen a bike like that in person. You know, But that's what I loved because I was already like looking at the horse and looking at David Mann paintings and. So then he's like, oh, well, I'm going down here, which was Fierce City before they moved into that other place, and go down into this basement, and there you got a pool table down there. And then he introduced me to Warren, who's, you know, putting on this show, and Brian, and then it all spawned from there. And then I was photographing them. But then I also, when I got out of college, I married my high school girlfriend, my first girlfriend. That went south, and in a really kind of a bad way, where it just was like, I got to get out of here. And I got on my bike, and I started riding, and I was meeting people, and they're like, you know, I feel like if you put out good energy, you get that back.
Absolutely.
And they would be like, hey, going to Mexico, going on the El Diablo run. I got an extra bike. I got this flathead that's sitting in the corner for 20 years. It hasn't run, but like if we get running really quick, you could ride that bike down through. So I rode a 45 flathead down through Mexico.
Nice.
And they're just like, hey, hop in, you know, let's go down there, let's get on the bikes and let's go, or let's ride over there. They would, and I didn't have a penny, you know. They'd fill the tank, they'd support me, you know. And back then it was like, I was starting to shoot for a lot of magazines by then.
Yeah, how did it get to that point? I mean, when did you? Because sure, like, where did you share your photos to begin with? Because
that was
Instagram
before,
wasn't there.
Yeah, that was the blogs just started up. Okay. So the blog thing was happening, and I had a blog. It was called Kimosabi in the Lodge. It's probably still floating around out there. So it was Mitch Cody, who is an amazing artist. Yep. Who's a good friend of mine. He was in Chicago, and then my other friend Brian Harlow. He would, you know, he lives a fantasy life, and he'd write these stories, and so he would do the writing aspect, and Mitch would be doing these.
So the three of you collaborated together to build this blog.
Yeah, and we weren't even thinking about it, you know. We were just like, hey, we just kind of started up, and they were living in this little shack that basically called the Lodge, It was like in the attic.
Kimosabi Lodge?
Yeah, so they were calling it the lodge, and they're like, why don't we call it Kimosabi in the lodge, you know? So at that time, that's why Born Free started, that's how it got to be so big. And, you know, you had Cycle Zombies, you had, what was Mike Davis's, it was Born Loser. So you had all those, and people would follow along with those. But just before then, I contacted the horse, and you know they were just like, "Yeah, go out and shoot something."
Send you some pictures.
And actually, they were tied to, and I was into hot rods too.
Okay.
So they had old school rods that had just come out. They're like, "Yeah, actually, there's this guy that needs something shot. Why don't you go?" And it was Voodoo Larry. I shot one of his cars, and they're like, "Oh, we'll use this for the cover." And they're like, "Hey, this thing is going on in Chicago. It's the Discovery Channel." So my very first ever like official motorcycle shoot was actually Billy Lane and Russell Mitchell. Yeah,
dude.
So they were doing a thing, and they were meeting up in Chicago. I think they built the bikes, you know, in their shops. But they met up in Chicago, and then they were gonna ride. I don't know.
So it was like the Great Biker Build-Off show.
So that was my first ever motorcycle shoot.
Nice.
And you know, I think then Billy was doing it hard, you know, and Russell, he come out and he ended up breaking his foot because the dog was like chasing him as he was riding out of the parking lot and was biting at his foot, and he went to put his foot down and the peg fell on hit his foot as it was coming down, broke his foot. So yeah, that was a wild experience, and that was my first motorcycle shoot. So then I was like, oh man, this is great. I'm like hitting it big right away. I'm gonna make a bunch of money, you know, shit. The money never came, you know, and it was just, but I loved it so much that the motorcycle is number one. I love Harley Davidson motorcycles and choppers and building and riding. Like that's number one for me, is riding a motorcycle. The camera has just kept me involved in it 24/7 of my life. The camera's enabled me to travel the world and see motorcycles worldwide. It comes and goes in waves where I'll love the camera a little bit, but I mostly hate it because you're always tracking down money, you know, because it's a job. So then, you know, you're always like trying to make it to the next place, and this is what's making you money. And it got really hard with the publications because they didn't have money. So,
yeah.
And then,
well, at the time that you're starting to shoot photos, you learn where it was still like almost like an analog setting, right?
Yeah. So the only people that were around were the people that were like truly knew what they were doing and passionate about the camera, but also passionate about the motorcycles. Well, then digital came in right at that time, because that first shoot I was on digital at that time.
Well, and the publication, like the internet's sitting at the same time too. So the publications are having trouble. So they out of need had to go to cheaper people that were just taking photos for fun.
Also too, I was documenting my life as it happened, and it was pre-Instagram, but that blog was a daily thing. Like this is what, and I was really into fabricating and building bikes at the time. My dad had an amazing shop, and that kind of was a weird thing that happened. He had his own business painting buildings, and he was always looking to retire, but it was just kind of, the money was good, but it about killed him. He walked off the end of a roof painting one day, and then he's like, you know what, sold his business piece by piece. It's like he paid cash for everything, you know. He just would save up and get the next piece. Well, then he would sell, and then he'd buy a welder, and he went to school for welding, and then he'd buy a machine. Well, it was a Chinese machine, and he'd be like, oh well, fuck that Chinese shit. I'm going to get an American lathe, but it had some issues, so he'd fix that one with the Chinese one and then sell that. But then he fell more in love with the machines. So then he still, to this day, he'll buy an old machine from a mill or whatever from the 30s, fix gears or whatever needs to be fixed, motors or whatever, and refurbishes them and sells them. It's kind of the thing he does. So I had all these machines.
So he like flips machines.
Yeah. So I had all these machines to use, and I remember he's like, well, this is kind of how you TIG. You got this filler rod, and he put on the mask, watch me, and then I did 2 passes. He's like, damn, you're ready to weld. So my third weld was on
passed the welding test after the second run.
So my third weld was on the motor mount of my frame.
Still hold?
Still hold, yeah.
Nice.
And I think I had the wrong rod too. I was just grabbing anything, but yeah, that's how I learned to weld, because there's so much welding. I was like, I want a 70 style chopper, but I want to fill it with Bondo.
Yeah.
And I never planned to have it bare steel. That was never the plan. I just never finished it. Like, it was going to be painted like gold.
And then they fucking look cool like that too.
Yeah.
So I mean, the bike I just built, like, I put the tins on it and I was like, oh fuck, they don't even need paint. Like, I can skip that step.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the plan was because I'd never built a bike before.
Yeah.
And there was no like YouTube or any of that. Like, I had friends like Pat and Paul at Bare Knuckle. I would call him up, and he would tell you on the phone, like, well, look for this, or watch out for that. And then it was trial and error, and that's the way you learn. But in hindsight, that's the best way to learn, because yeah, you know it. Like, by the time you're done with it, like, that was what I learned out of building that bike. Was there's people that won't leave their town, on their bikes. They're scared. They're scared that it's going to break down. Or they have choppers somebody else built, and they don't ride it anywhere. So as soon as I built my own bike from ground up, it was like, I can ride it. I could ride it around the world.
Dude, I think building them out, like, out of necessity, like you said, where like you didn't exactly want the pullbacks, but that's just what you had. Like, it's like a forced creativity where you're like, you just use what you got, you make it work.
It's funny because there was a pile of parts. They had the original frame, but there was also that Paco frame, and it had it's a 40-degree rake or something like that, and the motor. And I decided, well, the motor and the frame is all I'm going to use from that. My dad bought a Norton. It had that long front end on it, so it had a different. I had to make a stem, and I didn't know what I was doing. Make a stem to fit. Actually, I put 1-inch cups in a. Actually, Paul helped me he helped me machine down the cups to fit in a Sportster neck, because I had bought like some big twin cups. So they're welded in, and so then I made a stem for this, like, really I loved the front end because it was so narrow. I'd never seen anything else like it. Yeah. And my dad wasn't going to run it because I couldn't put a front brake on it. It's just so narrow, and you can't just put like a regular 21-inch tire on it because it would rub. It's just so narrow. And then I remember Dave Polgreen. I'd met him at the 50th anniversary of S&S anniversary. That's where that photo, we were riding back from.
Oh, yeah?
Down the river. But anyway, we met Dave Polgreen and Zach and all those guys up there in St. Paul. They had their own little thing going on. But you didn't know of each other then, because you had to go to the events to meet those people. It wasn't like it was just on the internet, So like,
well, that was before the blog?
So that was like right as the blog was like just happening. Like,
so were you like, when you go to an event, would you tell people like, dude, this is our blog, or like, would they see the pictures and be like, or
I don't know how that all just came to be, but but I think Zach was just starting up heavy back then, or maybe he hadn't even started it up, but Dave was just like the chopper nerd back, he still is, we're all nerds, but he had all the coolest parts, and he was like kind of ahead of the curve. Like he you go into his basement and he had like every Easy Ride. He had the catalogues, from every year, and he studied that shit, and he had all that stuff. Like, no one would think about running those little rabbit ear bars, and he had some of those, and I was like, man, my front end is so narrow, I don't even know I can't do wide bars on it. He's like, these bars are... So Dave Polgreen gave me those bars. I know that the fender came from Warren Jr. We were at a swap meet, and it was like a skirted fender, and I was like, man, I kind of like that fender. And he's like, give me $5 for it, And I cut off the skirts, and I welded some rod around it. The oil tank I made. The gas tank came from Bobby the Leg, or it was his friend that he was kind of building a bike with. But he like blew a bunch of holes. He tried to narrow it and then blew a bunch of holes in it trying to weld it together. His friend did.
Yeah.
And he's
that was what, the gas tank?
The gas tank. Okay. And he like whipped it across the shop, and there was a big dent in it because he was pissed. It's like, I'll take that, because I'll cut out the shit, the welds that are blown through, and I'll just make it narrower, and then I made a section dish the top. I'd say that already. The oil tank I made, so everything was just kind of came together.
And did you document that? Like,
I documented all that. Yeah.
No shit.
And it's on the blog probably.
Okay.
I actually, back then, it was kind of like a secret thing you would do. Like, you wouldn't show you would like unveil the bike.
Yeah.
Now it's something that's hard to do because all of the internet stuff.
I mean,
because you would go to the show. It's like that's where you go to see the
Lichter
bike.
does now. He's like, dude, don't post anything.
Yeah.
Bring the bikes to Sturgis.
Yeah.
I fucking love that. Like, just telling people about the builder. Like, look, this guy's building a bike. Mm-hmm. You know, like, you don't get to see what he's doing.
Yeah.
Show up and see, like, be excited to see it in person.
It's kind of lost. I don't know if I've just been so close to it all these years where I'm, I go to shows. It's more for me, it's about seeing all my friends.
Absolutely.
And the bikes are, like, at this point in time, it's like, fuck, you've seen a lot of shit done, and like you're walking around and once in a while a bike will blow it. Something somebody's done will blow your mind, like, oh man, that's fucking cool. But all in all, it's like you go to these shows and it's just like, I just want to hang out with my friends.
Dude, I see some of those bikes and knowing what I do know about building my shitty chopper, I'm like, dude, what does that guy not have anything else to do? Like, what the fuck,
I know.
man? How did he find the time to do that?
I guess where I was going with that is like, you've already seen it all on the internet before you've actually like seen it in person. So it kind of loses its thing. But I remember building everyone thought I was fucking crazy. Like, why would you spend that much time like building, like shaping that steel like that? And
did you have your dad's bike to ride while you were doing it?
Yeah. So I was riding my dad's bike.
I think that helps too. Like, if you didn't have a bike to ride, you probably would have like.
In what way?
Like you wouldn't have spent maybe as much time shaping a fender if you didn't have a bike.
I didn't have anything going. I was like freelance photographer. Didn't have much going, especially in the winter. And
I forget about that. See, I don't have that aspect in Texas. Like, it gets a little bit cold, but like,
oh man,
dude, there's some stuff out of my bike that I look at it now and I'm like, or every day I'm like, well, that's retarded. Like, I know I did it because I wanted to ride. I didn't trim that up because I wanted to ride.
Yeah, well, we got the winters here, and man, I built that bike. Actually, thinking about it now, how quickly I built it. It was only a couple of months that I actually, from start to finish, built that thing. I never made a set of pipes for it. I remember my friend had pipes. I was like, I just want to hear it run. So I threw those pipes on there, and they've been on there ever since. Once I took it down the road, I'm like, I can't stop riding it now.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of what happened.
And that's what happened. That's why it never got painted too, right? It got put together and
and I'm like, I can't stop riding it now. And I at this point in my life, I do. I mean, I have flathead motors, I have shovel head motors, I got pan head motors, I got a whole slew of iron head motors, but I don't have time really. I'm building out my place to accommodate all that. So when my life does slow down, I can just like tinker around. Just like picking from the apple tree. Like, I'm going to take that. I'm going to take that and start putting all these things together. But right now, the focus is building out my home.
Well, it's taking you a minute to get to this point.
Oh man,
dude. When did you realize like taking photos and riding motorcycles, like was something that was going to be sustainable? Like, was with the first shoot with Billy Lane, you're like, I already made it.
Yeah, that's what blew my mind. I was like, I'm at the top. Like, I shoot for these magazines.
Surely there was some points in there where you were like, that might have made it even more difficult, like a year later when you're like, fuck, I shot Billy Lane. Or did it just keep, pretty good from there?
To be honest, to me, like, because there's a lot of photographers that's what they go for, is the big name. I need to get to the big name, For me, I'm more interested in, because I think maybe I relate to them more. My life's changed a lot over now, especially now working for Harley. My life's a lot more cush. And I will say, like, after being put up in all these fancy hotels everywhere I go, it's like, now I'm kind of getting used to that. It's not like sleeping next to my bike every night. But the thing about a motorcycle is every walk of life loves a motorcycle. You have the lowest of the low, the poorest of the poor, that they love Harley Davidson motorcycle or motorcycles in general. You have the richest of the rich and the famous of the famous. So like one night I was sleeping in a ditch, and you probably know this. sleeping in a ditch next to your bike. You're just out of your mind. You've been riding all day. Like I do 1,000-mile days on the Ironhead, and then the next night you're in a mansion. Some dude that you remember as a kid or as current, and you're like, and all of a sudden like you're friends with that guy. Like how did this happen? You're hanging out with the fucking dirtbags, and you love those guys, but you're also good friends with the current top, like Jason Momoa for one. He's a really great dude, and come to find out, he's been following my work for a really long time, and he's just a genuinely great person, and it's cool. It's just kind of mind-boggling, when you think of the grand scheme of the world and how all the layers work. And he's just a regular guy, you know. But at the same time, you're like, man, to be able to, for my life, be able to intermingle with all walks of life. I was just in Florida. I just got back from Florida last 2 nights ago. I was doing a ride with the Wounded Warriors, and just to understand that aspect of life, where I feel like, fuck, I've been fucking around. I've had the privilege to just go and fuck off, basically, acting like a fool for most of my life, having fun, going where I wanted to go, when I wanted to go, and there's men out there that they're fucked up forever because shit they've seen.
So that we can do that.
So we can do that, yeah. And then the other aspect of it, too, is because of the way I shoot. I'm riding next to them, and I become one of them, and I see it all the time happen. And I've gotten shut down from shooting the way I shoot, and it's the way I've been shooting since I started from the bike, and that's kind of evolved into a whole nother way of, like, I'm standing up on the bike, I'm completely turned around backwards, taking photos, going 70 miles an hour or 80 miles an hour, and it trips people out. But also, I mean, I established that style of shooting because I was riding with my friends who ride. It's like club style riding. You're shoulder to shoulder, tire to tire, and you're maxed out, And if we're riding to California, I can't be like, oh, hey guys, can we turn around and there's a shot of the mountain, and can I have you guys turn around? Can I have you guys do that 20 times?
Be that guy, yeah.
No. So, and it really stresses me out when somebody can't ride at constant speed, or they're in this lane or in that lane, or they're interrupting traffic. Like this is everyone's road. This is everyone's earth. Like respect everyone around you. Like there are people that will get out in the other lane and hang there, and then you got traffic backed up. Like, okay, yeah, you don't know that person, but that guy, even if he is 50 miles over the speed limit, just let him go by, or don't hinder his day. Like that's just because usually I'm that guy. Like, fucker, get out of my fucking way. But so the whole idea is to be in the pack, never disrupt the pack, and respect everyone else around you. Like if you're in a tight pack like that, and you're constantly speeding up and slowing down, that's a ripple effect back, where that's like stop, go. Yeah, and that just wouldn't fly. I couldn't hang with my friends. They wouldn't let me hang like that. So I've developed this style where it's like, I don't know, somehow it's just, I have the throttle locked, and I don't alter my speed. I tell them not to alter your speed. If I want.
Did you say, do you have this talk ahead of time, or?
Yeah, I have to now, because a lot of people will they'll even pose for the, they'll give you the
the first time first ride, I flipped you off when you looked over at me.
Yeah. Well, that's cool sometimes, but I can't have every photo of somebody flipping me off. I just want people to be in their natural state.
Yeah. When I see that in your photo, after that point, looking at your work.
Yeah.
I mean, I see that.
And but what happens is, especially when I'm put into a group like that, you have these men that are when I think about them, they're like these heroes. They've seen they're gnarly people, men and women on this ride, and I don't know their life. I don't even know what that's all about. But when you first come into the group, they don't know you, and I feel it every time. There's also the video crew that is cruising along in their van, or the other photographer that has to get on the back of somebody else's bike or be in a van to shoot. They lose that connection Like I can feel it before I start, where they're just like, oh, okay, it's just another dude, camera guy. And then I get on the road, and we're going down the road, and I'm riding, and I always kind of I ease into it, because I don't know, people can get uncomfortable with it, but then they realize, for me, I want to be known as a rider. I don't want to be known as a photographer. I don't know. I always just thought, like, photographers are nerds or geeks.
That's how I feel about this.
Yeah.
Like I want to be a journalist or like I want to ride. I want to race. So I know what you're saying.
So like I always hide it.
Yeah.
I don't ever want to be the dude putting a camera in somebody's face. I'll never ask it's very rare that I'll ever ask anybody to do something for me for a photo. If I've missed that moment, I've missed it. That's just life, Yeah. But when you catch it, and it's a natural moment, and so when I'm on the ride with these people, they're now respecting me as one of them, as a rider, and I have this whole new connection with these people, and these relationships last for a lifetime. There's some people that I've been on these rides with would not normally have a connection with, but the motorcycle brings us together, and they respect me as a rider, and that relationship lasts forever. Whereas like these guys in the van, they have really no connection. They're not one of them.
No.
So that's what I thrive on, really, is just being a motorcyclist and being one of them, or having that common bond. It's not really about the photos. The photos come second, because that all starts to happen because they trust you. And I can just insert myself, and I'm not really good at, like, I kind of just chill, and it takes me a minute to warm up to people too, or to feel like I don't ever want to hinder anybody's day or their route or their group of people. So, but once they realize that, like, okay, this dude loves what he does, and he's a rider for one, then I respect that. I'll bring him in. Damn, is that the wind?
Yeah,
Shit.
it's blowing. Well, yeah, you build a relationship with them by riding with people. You know, like in the wind, like just the way that people ride. Like, I always have that mentality. It's like the competitive nature of me. I want to be out front, right? I
always end up front.
Dude, I got a vintage bike, so I would slow my life down. Like, all of it. Like, I was like, this will keep me from traveling as much. I'll be at home with the family more. I won't be riding as fast as I did with my twin cam. None of that ever really happened. No. But not until like really last year did I start like just trying, like figuring out how to like hang back, I guess. Not exactly hang back, but like just view how other people ride. Because I get to ride with people all over the country, and they all have like their different ways. Yeah, they do. And I always end up out front, but I at least like try and just see how they do it before I just impose the way I want to do things, or try to impose.
But too, I'll get stressed out. It all goes back to respect for me. Respect the person you're around, respect the other people in the world that you're cruising through. I get really stressed out when somebody can't hold their speed, or they can't hold their lane, or they're just dicking around, or they're just like, there's some people that lead a pack that like, for some reason, especially like on an interstate, and you have a whole pack of people, people have a tendency to like want to speed up, accelerate to get around a truck. So you have a semi. They speed up to like get over in the other lane, and then once they get in the lane, they bring their speed back down.
Like there's nobody following them.
And then all these guys back here are trying to get in, and now they're trying to squeeze in. And the truck driver's like, "Well, what the fuck?" Like.
Well, when I say viewing how other people ride, sometimes that's what you see.
And that's what stresses me out. I'm like, "Fuck!" Then I end up front always, like or like there'll be a gap. I like to ride tire to tire.
Yeah.
That's just the way I ride, and I like to have that guy, especially on. I've had to learn to like deal with riding staggered because it's more of a corporate policy, but that's never.
It makes people nervous sometimes too. Like you can tell that they're just not riding in their comfort zone. Sometimes I like that. Like I like just making people uncomfortable and just ride. Like you could tell they're trying to slow down or speed up to get. And I'm like, no, I'm right here with you, dude.
Right here, yeah.
And then finally they'll be like, oh, okay, like I guess.
They can't. A lot of people can't handle it, but that's the way we've always ridden. But that comes out of riding old motorcycles too, because we don't run mirrors. So how am I supposed to look in my blind spot or be looking backwards the whole time I'm riding to make sure my guy is there? He's still there.
Hate doing that.
Yeah, so ride right next to me. I can always see you out of my peripheral. Yeah. And now I'm riding with somebody. I'm having a good time.
Yeah, it's not like you see something, you look over like, oh yeah, you fucking saw it too.
Yeah.
You know, like.
And as a photographer, I mean, sometimes people will see it, and my friends know it. Like they know when the light's right. They know like when the situation, because all of a sudden I pop up and I'm just like, and I, you know, that's what I live for. I enjoy it. Like, oh, that's a moment, and I get excited and I'm shooting. And I actually find that if I don't have my camera on me, I'm actually kind of bored in that my body, because I'm not, if I'm shooting, I'm always moving around. I'm always moving. If I'm not shooting or don't have my camera with me, I get stiff and my back starts to hurt, and I like, you know,
you just kind of get relaxed and
or I'll just like fall asleep. So for me, I'm always shooting, and it's always keeping my mind working. And but not to say that I don't do long runs.
What's your favorite, in the morning or in the evening?
Well, I'm never a morning guy for one. No. I got to take a piss.
Oh yeah, do it.
All this coffee I'm drinking here. Do I got to get this thing off?
Dude. Yeah.
I was actually going to lead into like that movie, The 21 Days. Like, maybe I'll bring that back up. But like when they were editing that, I was like, I don't want any footage of me shooting from the bike.
Really? So you told them that ahead of time?
Yeah.
There's not a thing about there was none.
Yeah. So there was like one.
On. You're good. Just kind of like get that right here so it doesn't flop around.
All right, back. I don't know. You want to lead in with some sort of question or to get back on? You're like,
well, I don't try to think of like where we stopped off.
Well, you asked me when's my favorite time to ride.
Oh yeah, no, your favorite time to shoot. Yeah,
to shoot. Oh, well,
morning.
Yeah, definitely
evening,
sunset.
Sunset. Is it because it's the best at sunset, or because you're just not a morning person?
Probably a lot has to do with I don't often see. Well, now I see the sunrise all the time. Like I don't hardly fucking sleep anymore. And I'm like, when I started doing these jobs, who the fuck rides a motorcycle at 6 a.m.? Like, that's it for me. Like, we were always we were partying, and we were still partying then. Like, I wasn't up then riding a motorcycle. Yeah. You know, for me, sunset was always that time. I don't know, for something about it. It's just.
I guess now I think about it, the only time I'm riding early in the morning like that is when I'm by myself and I wake up in a fucking ditch or something. I'm like, get up, go.
And I love those moments too. It's like really calm, but that's kind of a personal moment where it's like, man, everything seems so calm. This is nice. Yeah, and I don't know.
You ever do any video?
No, very rarely. I kind of, when I got into digital, I started taking video. I mean, I do it with my phone. You know, that's the Instagram thing. But no, typically, and it's probably gonna hurt me in the long run, like because everything's going video. I should do that more. I should get into it. But still, it's just my thing. And I feel like if you're trying to do both, one suffers the other.
Absolutely.
So you can't. Like for me, I'm focusing on the moment. And video is a different thing. If I'm clicking back and forth, I'm either missing the moment or I'm missing that. And something's lacking there by trying to do both. So I've just always stuck with the still. But sunset is just when I was living in the cornfields and I didn't have a job, you know. I mean, this is all the way up until recently. I've been working at Harley for 3 years now, staff. I've been working for them for 10 years in total, just doing freelance stuff. But back then it was like, hey, where you at? You know, maybe we can make this work with wherever you're at.
Yeah.
But when I was home, when I was first starting to ride, especially, you know, open field, just you could see as far as it was just. Actually, that kind of lended into my style of photography. I love an infinite skyline where you can see forever. So if you got a little bit of a hill crest and you just had just a clean line and then sky, something about that like would take my mind away, where it's like you never know what's on the other side of that hill. And there's something peaceful about it. There's something mysterious about it. And sky, no matter how many times you shoot it, it'll always look different.
Yeah.
And so growing up in cornfields, I just remember being in the back of the car, looking out the car window and getting to those areas where there's a slight hill and all you'd see is sky, and it's just infinite. It just took my soul to a different place. Like my soul was at rest.
Yeah.
I can't even explain it, but that's where especially when I was shooting features for bikes, I could always find a little crest on a hill and I'd shoot that bike behind a sky. Rather than having that backdrop, you'd have that sky. It'd be crazy clouds, or just be a gradient, or just be bright blue, or whatever it was. But it was always different. So for me, every single day, didn't matter what I was doing, I'd stop, I'd put down my tools, I would ride west. And I'd always try to take a road that I hadn't taken. I mean, after so long, you know every one of those roads. But a lot of times I was like, gravel roads were my thing. I loved ripping on gravel roads. And I would go as fast as I could. I don't know why. I was just young and dumb and like, I fucking loved it. Yeah, you're loose, you're out of control. And I wasn't even on my bike back then. I was on my dad's bike, and I'd just be 80 miles an hour by myself riding at the sun. And that whole thing was just like, you're not even touching anything at that point. You're just floating. Yeah. And I don't know why I would do that, but there was a feeling about it. And I would only ride gravel roads, and out where I was at, there was a lot of them. Mm-hmm. And I would ride west, the sun would just hit that horizon, and I'd turn around. I'd go back home and keep working on what I was working on.
Taking photos while you're doing that?
I would take photos. I have some, actually, I don't do it anymore, and I used to have a lot more photos of just like rider perspective.
Yeah.
And I used to do that all the time because I didn't have people to ride with as much. So that was kind of my shot. And there are some shots that I have that are just like, I look at them, and the funny thing about photos is those photos take me right back to that moment. And I can feel and I could smell the way it felt when I took those photos. And it's funny because now that I work in an office, which it's a struggle for me, but I'm traveling a lot. Sometimes I got to be in the office. You have all the design people. I never know where my photos go, but I'll be walking past their cubes. I'm in the studio, so sometimes I got to go over there, and I'll catch out of the corner of my eye a photo, and I know it could be out of the corner of my eye. It'll take me right to that moment, and I'll see on their computer screen they were designing something, or it's my photo on the screen, and I'll think, oh man, it just like takes me right there. So I had somebody early on say, why don't you just carry a journal with you? Why don't you write just a little thing every day? I really wish I had done that. I mean, a lot of the things that...
How many journals have you bought over the years?
None.
Oh, because I have. I've bought them, and then it just never happens.
Yeah. Well, I have a few.
With that intention.
Yeah.
You know?
You never... I mean, by the time you get to your resting place, you're so fucked up. You ain't going to be nothing but scribbles. Yeah. But on the other side of that is I have the photo documentation, and even if I can't recall, if somebody were to be talking about something, I would start to recall it. But as soon as I see those photos, it starts to recall things, and you kind of you remember things differently. But the photos are there, you know. So, and being that it's digital, you just shoot and shoot and shoot and shoot and shoot and shoot.
Keep tons of them.
The bad thing is the wildest times are the times that aren't really documented very well. So which makes for a good book, but but the photos leading up could probably spark those memories, if I can recall them. They were so blurry anyway.
So the movie, how did that come about? The 21 Days Under the Sun? Or Under the Sky?
Under the Sky. Actually, it was just going to be a simple thing right across the U.S. And Michael Smith,
which at this point you had done. This wasn't like the first.
Oh yeah, across, yeah. I was already doing that, and I was doing it with my group of friends, and we always had I don't know. It's just who you're comfortable with and who you connect with. People have certain personalities, and there are other groups out there that kind of do what we do. But you get the two groups together, like personalities. They just don't. They're not. It's just you're comfortable with, and everyone has their style of doing things. And
And depending on what you're doing, like I got some friends I can ride with.
Yeah.
I got some friends I can travel with.
Yeah.
Sometimes those aren't the same friends, you know?
But I think our group is most closely aligned with our good friends in Alabama, the Haints. You know, like, 'cause we like to get wild. They fucking get wild.
Yeah.
A bunch of hillbillies, but you know, we are too. But you know, there have been groups that have come and gone over the years, and like you try to, you know, but we had just this group that was just go, and you never asked where are we gonna sleep, where are we going, you just never asked. No one ever asked those questions, and there was no worry like, oh, this is a cool spot, or hey, there's a cool bar, let's go in there. We still had like 200 miles that day, but we got caught up in the bar. Like, all right, well, cool. Yeah. We had a great night. Now maybe we're gonna go east instead of west, you know, or always west typically. But so anyway, Michael Schmidt, who I'd known for a bit, who's an amazing photographer, he wanted to start doing a little bit of video stuff, and he had reached out to me, and I was like, yeah, I'm all for it, you know. And the cast and characters that were going to be involved like started changing, and I'm like, that's cool, you know. And I knew Troy well, I knew all of them well, you know, but I hadn't really ridden with them on the level that I knew with my close family. So I stressed my concerns, like, okay, we're doing this trip, you know. I've also done a lot of other rides with just, you know, you get people together, certain people have their things, you know, and those little things could stress other people out, you know. We're all good, you know, but there was moments where, and it kind of stemmed back to some other things, like other things that were going on that stressed the situation. But Gentry's bike was kind of always kind of an issue for us, you know, and it just, we're always working on that. But hey, that's just the way it goes, you know. Yeah. So typically when I would do that ride, you know, like Chicago to California, sometimes we would take we'd take our time doing it, but it was always like 5 days or 4 days, you know, probably 5. We'd stop in Colorado. But it's like, okay, well, we were seeing people along the way too, you know. But it was just, it was what it was. It was, Michael had a camera. He did have a guy driving a van, and then one other guy doing sound, Davey, or just helping load files is what he was doing. But that van we could not rely on in any way, and we never did.
That's like, okay, I got you.
Yeah, we were
no, like
our group.
The van was able to make the trip. Like,
well, it had to be there so Michael could shoot.
Yeah. I thought at first you meant like the van was going to break down the whole time. Like,
no,
you couldn't rely on it to go to the next place.
No,
okay.
Yeah, we couldn't, and there was no. I mean,
you didn't have any gear on it. There was no.
No, because there was so much camera gear and whatever and people, and then there was. Anyway, we did the run, and you know, we encountered some things and it took a long time to do, and tensions mounted, but by the end of it, you know, like still, like in the end we're way closer than we ever have been, you know, because of that experience.
Absolutely.
But you know, then it because we did that in 2013, and Michael, you know, he went through some stuff and things got hard. So then that footage then got sold to Fox, or Fox took it over, whatever, or a production company. Fox then put it out. So then like 3 years later it came out, and it was kind of put out on a grander level than I ever thought it would ever be put out, you know. So, I mean, I'm proud of it. And
really? So did you have any... Like you did the ride, they filmed it, and then you didn't have any direction with it, or like it just... No, yeah. We had, actually I bought this property April Fool's 2016, and that movie dropped that same day, and I had never seen it. I was like, hey, can I... You had never seen it either.
Never seen it, and I didn't know because it got dropped prematurely or something. It got dropped before it should have. And I had people calling me, and I don't have a TV. And and I didn't have Netflix, you know. So, but even it was really weird. People reaching out to me. I saw that movie, and I think it was called something else. On I don't know. It was a weird situation, and so all of a sudden it was out, you know. And it's like, you know, people can say what they say, but I mean, we're just 4 guys riding across the U.S. and it was just one guy filming. You know, it wasn't a production. Fox did come in and kind of put some money towards sound and the music and putting it together as its final product, and then having Robert Patrick do the voiceover. But you know, it is what it is, and it's a part of my life. It was a segment of my life, you know, and it's cool. But there's this whole other side of my life that's like that I know, you know, is how I knew of going across the U.S. And it's like,
your story is a little different than the movie.
Yeah, and you know, it was kind of, we were trying to get to places, and for us, it's like a rolling party everywhere we go, you know, and man, and then you have your issues too, but we're pretty dialed in. Because everyone builds their own bike, and it's like you're responsible for your bike, and if you have an issue, you're responsible for it. So hey, we're gonna go smoke this joint over here while you work on your bike, you know. But hey, if you need help, I'm here. But don't expect that we're gonna be doing that for you every time. You got to learn. And that weeds people out too, you know. But those are the moments that you remember forever. Is those times on the road, and you're you know, you'll kick a can over, and then, you know, like it turns into another story or another adventure, and just to the point where, man, I mean, we're totally rebuilding top ends. You know, somebody would come along, because they always stop, they see the bike. Some old timer would be like, oh, I got a set of shovel heads on my bench that are ready to go, or, you know, something, and you're back at their place, and like, oh, the drags are going on tonight. You want to go over to the drags? You can sleep in my backyard or whatever. And then you're there, and like you have this whole other story. I mean, there's times, and I'm kind of known in the group for pushing or pegging. I pushed my friend on one trip. There's that trip I was telling you about when we were coming back from. We were riding through the desert over to Arizona. Anyway, he had run out of gas.
Dude, that shit ain't easy.
Dude, I do it. I pushed him for 137 miles on one trip. It was 3 different legs, but the first leg we always leave out of California right when the sun sets, because you're going through the desert and it's hotter than hell.
Yeah.
And you do it at night. We were getting close to Phoenix, and I was just riding with my buddy Steve, who I probably have the most amount of miles riding next to. He's always had this fucking Evo Sportster that I've seen flipping, crashing. I've never seen a bike crash so often. And he's like skateboarder, you know, so like I never worry about him. Like he's flipping through the desert, and like anyway, so he had run out. So I just, you know, they know, put it into neutral or pull in the clutch, and I always have my throttle locked because I'm shooting that way.
Okay.
So I just have my throttle pinned. I'll push with my foot and grab the sissy bar, and I'll push at 90 miles an hour.
Come on.
And there's plenty of video of it.
Yeah.
And I'm taking photos too. I got photos where I'm pushing my needle, because I was on my Dyna at that point.
Yeah.
I would always do it with my iron head, but the needle would be at like 90. And then he had an issue. Well, he was trying to keep up because he was on a Sportster. I was on a Dyna at that point, and doing 100 miles an hour through the desert, and the thing was just rattling, you know. And we found out later, like, oh, you had a loose motor mount, so the whole fucking thing is rattling.
Shit, yeah.
Coil went bad, pushed him. Battery terminal broke off, would push him, and it's like you're in the middle of the desert. He could sit there, and you could go 50 miles one direction, get what you need, come 50 miles back, get him fixed up, and then go back. Oh no, just pull in the clutch, pop it in neutral. I'll push you there, and then we'll figure it out, and then we're ahead of the game, you know. So, but that's just comes from riding the way we ride. It's like your guy next to you is your guy. You watch out for him, and you get him to the next spot, you know. So, but yeah, and they're part of that, and you see that in that movie. Like Troy, the salt flats we got there, and I hadn't seen the salt flats at that point. We got there, they're flooded. like, hey, fuck, man, they're flooded. Fuck it. There's a, like, you could see out there's like a little raised patch. Like, if we get out there, we can open them up. So Troy goes out there, I'm fucking around out there. Well, he had a mag, so the mag got wet. Once his mag was wet, he was fucked. So we're like way out there. And
that shit's slick when it's wet, I imagine, right?
No, it's not.
Because like the mud, I've been out there, and that's fucking slick.
Yeah.
But I guess maybe the water on the salt isn't that bad.
Yeah. I don't remember it being slick.
Okay.
But, I mean, I'm sure there was parts that are, because they're not totally salt. But man, I tried to like pop start him. So I'd push him and he'd pop it and it wouldn't start. So I was like, well, fuck, we got to get you back over to the starting point.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was on my iron head, and I just had my foot on his peg or on his frame, I think, pushing him. But his tire's there, and it's just the water is coming off of his tire straight into my eyes, straight into my face. Yeah. Mine is going straight into his face and into my carb, and then ended up getting him up there, but. But those are just kind of the things you do sometimes.
Yeah.
just to keep the show going.
Have you been back out to the Salt Flats for like Speed Week or anything?
I haven't been out there for Speed Week. I've been through the Salt Flats probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 times since then.
Yeah.
But never during Speed Week. You probably know how it is. It's like there's parts. I recently did a ride. It was a job. We went through Death Valley, Joshua Tree, Salton Sea, Lake Havasu, all these places that if you're just like trying to get somewhere, you never really see the beauty of those places. And you always think in your head, like, I'm going to stop there and I'm going to check that out. Mm-hmm. But you're like, oh man, it's 120 degrees and I've already ridden, 1,500 miles. I just want to get there.
Yeah, yeah.
So where was I going with this? Anyway, a lot of times when you're just doing it that way, you don't see all the special little places. And then sometimes you just got to step back and decide, like, okay, I'm going to stop here and I'm really going to enjoy this. Yeah. But you're always in a hurry you've either partied out and you got to get back in time for something. And
it's amazing how many times I pass some really rad spots, and then finally when you do have time to stop, it's like, this is so much more than I ever saw just going by on the highway.
Or now with the internet the way it is, or social media, you see like something will pop up. You're like, oh, that looks fucking amazing. And then you hit the geotag and you're like, damn, I've been right near that 20 times in my life, but never knew that existed because I didn't slow down enough just to check it out. So I have a little list of some of those things too. Yeah. Just little things like, whether it's a crazy bridge, it's a 1-lane bridge in the middle of Nebraska somewhere. This job is all consuming of my life, really, right now. But I know nothing good lasts.
Did you ever see that coming, that you'd be working for the motor company?
No, never. I never had a plan. Never. I just loved riding. That's all I wanted to do at that point. Because like shit hit the fan, and I was like, I don't give a fuck about anything at this point. Yeah. I'm just gonna ride my motorcycle, and was documenting it. I reached out it was Old School Rods. That was the only time I've ever reached out to anybody for work. All the rest of it came to me, but also it's being out there. When you're out there, you're meeting people. Mm-hmm. And there were times when, Arizona, man, that event's going on. Man, I'd like to go to that, but I don't got any work out there. Fuck it, I'm going to go anyway. And you'd go out there, you'd party with somebody, or you'd meet somebody, and you'd have a great conversation or just a great night with them. Could be 2 years, 5 years, 7 years later, they're like, hey, I got this thing going on. Mm-hmm. And they've developed this thing, and it's turned into this huge, and like now all of a sudden you're a part of that. It's kind of crazy how life works, where like, you just need to get out. And I've learned that here too. Now, when I come home, I've kind of been isolating myself just because I have, my property that I'm building out for my next step in life. It's like I was going to say, nothing lasts
The goals
forever.
have gotten bigger.
Yeah, well, there's a responsibility, and so I never had any responsibility in my life. I was just going. Now I have this property. I have a rental property that, I have to make sure I'm taking care of that. Yeah. But I know with this job, nothing good lasts forever. And I know one day it's going to go away as a full-time thing. And actually, when I took it, I was like, I had a year contract. I was like, if it only lasts a year, then cool. Like, I'll stick it out for a year. It'll put me in a good spot financially, and then I'll hit the road again. But when I do get done, and whatever the next step is, maybe I won't. Maybe I'll retire there. Maybe it's good. It has been healthy.
What's a normal day like? Working at the Motor Co. Is there a normal day?
No, not at all. Well, especially now, it's just a change. It's a revolving door of people. Like I've been there in-house 3 years. I probably directly reported to 7 different folks.
No shit.
And
3 years.
The first guy brings me in. He knows what I'm about.
Is that because you're getting promoted or because?
No, it's because people are getting fired. They're moving. It's mostly they're gone.
Yeah.
Kind of feel like the cockroach there now. When I first walked into that building, I felt like the gum on the bottom of people's shoe. It's very corporate.
Yeah.
I was very surprised how few people.
Were the other people surprised too? Like,
yeah, some of them probably.
You do what?
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it was just my perception of what. It's just there's a lot of really great people that work there, but my life is something I struggle with. Like, I need equal parts solitude to equal parts social, like a crazy, crazy social, which is these events, and then I would go disappear into an open cornfield or somewhere,
Highway.
Highway, and I'd be by myself.
Yeah.
And I needed that. Now I have kind of this lukewarm, like, okay, my social life is kind of, when I'm at home, it's at work, because I do have to report there 9 to 5. And I'd have a lot of editing to do when I get back, so I'm there. They're all great people, but they're not people that I typically would relate with, you know.
That you would socialize with.
Yeah, so there's that. So then by the end of the day, I'm burnt out on social. So I come home and I lock myself in, and then I'm building out my place so the way it's going to be beneficial to me in the future. So I'll have my machine shop, I'll have my workshop. Basically, I have my little living area, and then all the rest is geared towards the future, where I could lock it up, it's paid for, and then hit the road again. That's my goal. But anyway, so that it's kind of, my life's entered this gray mid-tone and I've thought about this a lot, just being on a bike, and I actually probably ride 80 to 90% less than I ever have in my life working for Harley Davidson. They have some kind of strict rules about certain things, and two, it's no, you're gonna fly there, you're gonna get it, you can't, because they're paying you, they have to pay per diem, they have to pay mileage if you're on your bike, or it ends up being more expensive to ride a motorcycle than it is just to fly there and pick one up. So that's what I've been doing a lot. I mean, sometimes I get to do long rides and it's great, and then I'll get to there and be like, okay, cool, I'm gonna ride back. No, you gotta throw it on the trailer and fly back. Like, fuck, man, that's just. And so I actually can be honest and say that since I took the job, I have not done, this is 3 years, I have not done a ride for myself since. And part of the contract was that I had to continue to be me. They hired me for me, and of course, then that guy takes another job somewhere else. The new guy comes in. He's not.
So you worked that into the contract? Like,
yeah. And actually,
this is the way I do things, and like.
Yeah, I wasn't even supposed to report to the office ever. Like, I might had to go in for a meeting once in a while.
Yeah.
Well, then the guy that hires me, he's gone, and the new guy comes in. He's not a motorcyclist. He doesn't understand motorcycles, and then it's like, oh, well, here's your cubicle. And then I'm under these fluorescent lights. I've never been trapped in a place. I've never had to, like, also too, there's people that will ride to work every day, and it doesn't matter how cold it is, how rainy it is. To me, I never knew a motorcycle to take me to the same place every day. That's a trap. Yeah. That's a trap, So, like, I'll ride whenever I can, but I'm not that guy that's like every day, rain or shine, riding to work. But I mean, I guess that's maybe just how they know a motorcycle is this is my means of transportation. I love but I don't have much other time to ride. For me, I know it is the riding into the sunset every day. That's how I know a motorcycle, or riding next to my friends, or riding out in the middle of nowhere, or just the freedom. Like, to me, riding to the same place every single day is a trap, and you can learn to hate it. But
so how do you counteract, or how do you like fight that?
Well, so a lot of my jobs, especially now, are on the road. And they're riding jobs. So like I said, I just got back from Florida. I basically flew into Daytona, picked up a bike, rode up to Jacksonville, met up with the Wounded Warriors. We rode back down through Daytona, stopped there, saw some things, went down to Melbourne along the coast, and then chilled out. And then the next morning rode over to Tampa. And then I split off they were doing going up to Tallahassee, but I split off and then had to go back to be up here for Mama Tried. But there's really amazing rides that I get to do with some amazing people. And that's another thing too. Like, I kind of stopped doing Instagram for a long time just because I am forced to be around social media influencers who, it's like you see really quickly that their main goal in their life at that moment is to make the outside world feel like they're doing these really special things, and they're not even interacting with people around them. Like, the one thing that really turned me off was we were riding with a group of people, and some are really great, but you get to lunch, and these people don't even, they're not social, they don't talk to you, they're on their phone the entire time. And there was one girl in particular, we ate lunch. A few of us were sitting on the parking lot, just catching some sun, warm sun. It was kind of a cool day, but laying on the blacktop. And we're just having a normal conversation. She comes up and sits on the other side of me. I'm like, oh, cool. She's actually gonna like interact and hang out and forget about her whole social media influencer thing. And then I see the camera come up, and she takes a selfie like down the line of us, and then like gets up and then makes a post, and I see it. It's like, oh, just hanging with the bros, she was having a great time with everyone, but yet never interacted, never said anything. And like, I was just like, I just can't.
It is a bummer, man. I mean, like with my podcast, looking for guests and interesting people to talk to, it bums me out when I like now I'm like, if they're good at Instagram, they probably suck at life.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah. I know that's not the case all the time, but like more times than not, dude. It's like, it's brought me to some great people, but it's also brought me to some disappointments.
Yeah, for sure. And even too, like some of the crazy relationship I had was like, that's what it was all about. And it was like, at first you meet and it's great, and then all of a sudden they're like, okay, back to the program, and you're like, dude, can you put that fucking thing down? And then you start reading all this shit, and it's all like half truths and made up stuff and over exaggerated things and stuff that's not even real. You're like, man, you know what? You would be a really beautiful, amazing human being if you were just yourself. Mm-hmm. But yet now you're glorifying everything, and now you can just see right through it. It's all fake. I don't want to be around that. Yeah. And I approached Instagram as, I'm kind of a purist in a lot of things. Like, Instagram's supposed to be a photo taken with your phone and posted immediately. And I used it that way for a really long time. When other professional photographers would only be posting photos from their actual camera that they've edited and made look their best. For me, I kept using my phone. And actually, there's kind of a missed year in there, and I really regret this, where
like a full year you didn't do nothing?
Well, I was only using my phone because I wanted to post it, because I couldn't. I still had my camera on a lot of trips, but I couldn't send those images from my camera to my phone, and I didn't want to do that. I was like, the idea is take it with your phone and post it immediately. Yeah. So there was a 1 year in there where I was kind of heavy on the phone, like taking the photos, where I'd have that moment captured on the phone but not on my camera.
Gotcha. You know? Okay, so you missed it with
the real thing, yeah. Yeah. So, but then I started using my camera and then sending it over to my phone, but it was still chronological. This is my life. This is how it happened. And then you start gaining a following, so people start following you like, oh man, you're coming through my town. Beer's on me, let's hang out. And it's like, that that changes your whole journey. It's not fluid anymore if you're constant. Yeah, there's friends you stop and see, for sure. But like if everyone's reaching out and seeing what you're doing, we've had, you get a following, people see where you're at, and then they like track you down, they show up. And you have this weird person like around, and then you can't get rid of them. You're like, fuck.
Sit down for lunch, and then like the table's not big enough.
Yeah. So I'd started to post like 2 days later, and people like, dude, oh man, you're in my town, let's hang out. I'm like, oh, sorry man, I'm already 2 days gone. So I started doing it that way, and then I got so sick of the whole thing, and I found myself being on the phone, because what I would do, actually, the 2-day thing was great, because I would sit in my tent at night after everything kind of quieted down, and I would then set up my photos and how I was going to post them. So I wasn't taking myself away from the group or my friends or being on my phone constantly. I mean, I still probably was, but then I would kind of post them chronologically. I'd get to a gas stop, hit post, because I already had it like set up in my notes. And so what it would seem like, because I do get a lot of people that are like, oh, why don't you just enjoy your trip? Why are you so, yeah, they would make either messages or comments like that. I'm like, well, this is my life. This is what I do. And then I just got tired of dealing with people and dealing with the whole thing, and I stopped doing it for 2 or 3 years. And now I'm starting to do it again, but I hate just being caught up in it, because it's human nature.
Sucks you in, yeah, it does.
Because you open it up, you're like, oh, well, who commented? And then you comment back, and then it's another comment that they comment back, and also I get a lot of the messages, and I can't keep up with it. And I've gotten so secluded in my life where even people that are really special to me, they're like, dude, where'd you go? Like, I can't handle it socially sometimes anymore. I just like kind of, I don't know, I need to be a lot better at that. But right now in my life, I'm kind of comfortable being kind of stuffed away a little bit. But I'm still out, because I'm working, and it's a constant thing.
I see you out.
Yeah. And I love it. But I also need I don't have that crazy social, crazy solitude. It's all just like mid-tone right now. And I find that too I'm not doing the drugs I used to do. I'm not drinking whiskey like I used to do. I have a little morning routine when I wake up now. You can see it here. It's like, oh, I put on my record, get my coffee boiling, I do my French press, and now it's like, oh, I found oatmeal. And my last relationship taught me a lot. She's from Iceland, lives in Copenhagen, and she was like, why do Americans only eat dessert for breakfast? Like, oh wait, chocolate-covered donuts, syrup-covered pancakes. Like, I started thinking about it. I was like, man, she's fucking right. It's not like oatmeal, and then you learn like what healthy feels like. And as you get older, being in Daytona, it's just down in Daytona, a lot of local critters there just getting hammered, and they're like 70 years old. And like, how are they alive, and what do they feel like the next day? I can't even fucking imagine. That doesn't deter me from getting loaded one night here or there, and having some fun.
Dude, I found a great fucking smoothie spot in Daytona last time I was there.
Those things will hook you, man. It makes you feel good.
Yeah.
Make some juice, make a smoothie. Good. Yeah. Yeah, well, she hooked me on that stuff too, and I remember we went to Des Moines. We'd always go to, that's kind of Jeff Wright, one of our good buddies in Des Moines, Church of Choppers. And that was always a thing. That was always our first stop. We'd hit Kung Fu Tap and Taco, and anything you want to drink, it's all on me. That's Jeff is. And we would sleep on the picnic tables next to the bar, or up in the back, the trees there, or on the pavement. Somebody would make it that. I remember one morning I woke up, well, my front tire was flat. I got there and I was partying. Some dude was like, hey, is that your bike? Your front tire's flat. I'm like, oh, fuck. Well, I'm loaded. I'm going to worry about that in the morning.
Yeah.
And then get up in the morning, and somebody, my friend Jeremiah, had puked all over my front tire. Like there was like a trail of vomit from one end to the other, and he's like basically almost still laying in it. And Tom Fugel was there too. It was kind of one of the times that one of the first times I met Tom. This was probably 2010. Yeah, it was 2010, because I was riding my pan shovel. I rode that for a year, and then it was just all Ironhead. But yeah, I remember we were all passed out in there, and Tom was like, "Oh man, You guys remind, he was kind of stoked to see young guys on choppers like that dude. Like he's still like he'll say it, 27. He never aged past 27, and that dude is excited. I wish that I could have the excitement that he had about choppers for the rest of my life. Like he had that childhood like excitement about choppers still, And one of my buddies, Tom had his camera bag. One of my buddies had like passed out on the bench and was using his camera bag as a pillow, you know, and Tom's in there looking for his camera. He's like, ah, damn it, I can't find, there it is. And he kind of like grabbed some pizza and like shoved it under his head and took his camera, But I got sidetracked on all that. But anyway, we would go to see Jeff and it just, that was our first night. That was our first stop. And we would get so fucking loaded and then have to make it to...
Set the tone.
Yeah. And it was all on from there. Where was I going with Jeff, though?
We were talking about smoothies.
Oh, yeah.
Feeling healthy.
Yeah, so we went out there. We always try to ride out there every year. And then now we have a new guy that's part of the shop. He has some land out there. It's actually a lot further. Jeff is a lot further. We would ride past where we're trying to go just to see Jeff and party for a night and then go to this land and shoot guns. But I was like, I finally got on that fucking juice thing, and I was like, oh man, I'm so hungover. I gotta go get me a juice. Like, everyone's looking at me like I'm fucking crazy or something. But once you get on that, I don't know, you start to know what it's like to feel good. Mm-hmm. Like, okay.
What about you? Work out at all? Did you do anything to like stay in shape now that you're working in an office? I mean,
I learned that quick. Was like. You don't move your body. You're sitting in a chair. Like I'm always doing everything. Like, those are 12-foot long sheets of drywall. I hung all those by myself. Like, I always been like hardworking like that. And then, but I did wreck pretty good on my bike one year, and I was on shit bald tires. I knew if I got caught in the rain, I'd be fucked. And chasing a girl.
I've taken those trips before.
Oh,
It's like,
yeah.
These are
I've
fine.
seen your tires. Yeah,
as long as I don't have to ride in the rain.
Yeah. So it was great for a week. Chasing this girl down to Kentucky, and was with her, and she's like, I just stay one more day. Like, it was Sunday, I remember, and I was like, I got to make it back. Okay, no, I'll stay one more day. Like, go down to Del Hollow, down there, and this storm backtracks, and it's a gnarly storm. Like, I hadn't seen any like lightning, and so. Got caught up in that. We're on this little back road, and I lost it around a turn. It just went just right out from under me, and you're going down. It's always like, oh, cool. Like it's in slow-mo, and I'm like low siding. I'm like, I got it. This is cool. And then I hit it like a drainage pipe, and then it like high sided me right quick, and I hit the ground, shoulder.
Isn't it crazy how seems like when they're going good, it does slow down.
Yeah.
And then when it goes bad, it's like you almost like just lose it for a second, and it happens so fast at that point.
Yeah, because I remember ground sky, and I remember thinking like, when is this gonna stop? And then there was a fence post and a barbed wire fence.
Oh no!
And it's funny, my shirt was caught up in that barbed wire fence. I had a little nick in my arm, and when I separated my shoulder really bad, and then it hit that post, but the wind was knocked out of me. She was actually riding behind me and came up, was like...
Okay, she was on her own bike.
Yeah, and saw it all happen. And I knew, I was like, you get the wind knocked out of you, you're just like, all right, don't freak out. You you're going to breathe here in a second. And I was like waiting for I could get that first breath, And, but yeah, separated shoulder, man, I'd wrecked before and hurt myself. I'm like, oh, cool. I'll be good. I'll heal.
Yeah.
Went and got some X-rays, and they're like, man, you need to see an orthopedic surgeon. And I didn't have health insurance. I didn't have a fucking penny to my name at that point. And so I put it in a sling, and then I went on YouTube to do the little exercises. And then, man, so now leading up to what you asked about exercise, I have to do push-ups every day, or I have to do.
Is that what you do?
I have to stretch it.
Hanging
day.
Works for that.
Yeah,
arms forward. Just
I got a bar right there.
Yeah,
just hang from that. Do pull-ups, and
nice.
You know what? You start doing that, and you crave it, and it makes you feel good. And then even stretching is like, I don't know. For me, I'm just like the stiffest person in the world, and like just stretching is the biggest thing for me. So,
dude, I've kind of gotten out of rhythm, but hot yoga, Bikram yoga.
I've never done it.
It's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing, and it's like
Listen to
it
us.
works on so many it works on so many levels. Like it's difficult as fuck. The room's 115 degrees. You just want to walk out. Like this is like fucking balance. You don't even realize it can be that difficult. And then there's just some old fucking 60-year-old lady just killing it. You're like, well, I can't just quit, you know? Like so it's like a mind workout just as much as it is like stretching your shit out. When I think there's a reason all the old dudes like don't ride their choppers anymore. You know, like they fucking got.
I know when you're young, you're like, oh fuck, I'll ride my chopper till I die. Yeah. Tom Fugel did, you know.
Yeah, well.
But I feel it, and I still always would prefer to ride my Ironhead, but I'm 38, I'm still young, you know. At least I could think that, but.
What does the work think about that? They don't want you riding that Ironhead, huh?
They don't even hardly know what it is. You know, it's.
They don't even know what it is.
Yeah, they look at it and it's a foreign. Actually,
wait till you got kids and you're like, what the fuck?
No kids
know?
for me.
Like, dude. I don't even know how I'm like. You should have to like pass a test to have a kid, you know?
The most ignorant people are having kids.
That's what I tell people, like, you know, like my smartest friends, I feel like, they're like, oh, we're not having kids, we're like enjoying our life.
Yeah, because they're smart.
Yeah, well, because you're not having kids, like the people are getting dumber, you know? Like, we need people like you to be having kids.
I tell you what, traveling over into places like Scandinavia and places in Europe, you're like, you know, we're brought up to think that America's the greatest place on earth, and then you go over there and people are so they respect themselves. One, that translates to everything else in their life in whole, and they talk about it being the happiest place on earth, and you go there and it's not like people are like got a big smile on their face. It's just like, oh, you need to pull out of a parking lot, they stop, they wave, they smile, you wave back and you smile. And it's like, oh shit, that happens 2 or 3 times in your day, and you're just like, that's great, you know.
That's how it was in Iowa, right? In those cornfields.
Yeah, but you
Small town,
you land, and then you come back home. You land in Chicago. Everyone's yelling at you. You're trying to get through the airport in O'Hare, and I'm an American and can't even figure my way through the line. And someone's screaming at me. And you go anywhere in Europe, you're like, okay, cool. I just got to go there, and it's easy breezy, you know. And America is just, I think back, why are we the way we are? I was fortunate to spend a lot of time, or some time in Iceland, and my girlfriend had her family had a first generation Hummer with a big sleeper cab on it. So I flew in, she picked me up, and we just lived in the thing for 7 days, and you'd see a mountain or something, you'd see something, you're like, oh, let's go over there. I was like, wait, we can't just go over there. No, yeah, you just go over there. We'll just go, take that trail and go up over there. Like, well, it's not, it's whose land is it? Like, it doesn't matter. You just respect the land, and as long as you respect it, then it's fine.
Really? So it wasn't like public land? But
no.
It wasn't like, it was just private land that...
Yeah, and people wave at you, and you wave back, and it just blew my mind. It's like, we're going to get shot. No, and because here, and then I think about, why are we the way we are? And to me, it goes all the way back to stake your claim. You run out, horse, boom, boom, this is mine. You stake your claim and you're fighting for it immediately. This is my fucking land, stay off of it. And that just translates all the way up to current day, where everything is mine, mine, mine. You can't touch this. And when you have other cultures that are so... they watch out for one another. They respect one another. Respect goes a long way. Just feel like we've lost that here, but anyways, off topic. But
that's a good one, though. I mean, that's a deep one. I feel like people always are trying to fix little things, or they try and nerf the world, really, is what it is. Like, but there's a bigger mindset that needs to change. Like, like a simple thing like banning guns. Like, that's not the root of the problem.
No,
it seems like we never
health.
really go to the deep causes of the problems. It's like, oh, if we just fix this, then...
Yeah. No, it's the way people are brought up and having respect for one another. It's, like I said, ignorance is bliss. I'll live here and be happy and not know it's. Oh, what I was gonna lead to was, where you stayed up at Scott's place up in like DeSoto. There's a lot of Amish up there, and there's places where your phone doesn't even work. It's like no, you have minus bars, like your phone is not gonna work. You get up there, and I remember being younger thinking these people are fucking crazy. What, they don't believe in electricity? And then you start, and it's so beautiful to ride over there and riding around, and then you can smell that wood burning, and you see a smoke plume coming out of the chimney, and then it starts to get dark, and there's like really no lights. It's quiet, and I remember I was just out that way recently. I was picking up a tailgate for my truck, and I crested a hill, and I saw it was a really kind of a foggy, hazy day, and out in the middle of out in this field. Just a barren field. There was this big hay bale, a big round hay bale or straw bale, whatever it was, and there's a bunch of black dots just like surrounding it and on it and like crawling. It looked like a bunch of ants climbing all over the thing. Okay. And I'm like, it looked so surreal. It's just black. They're all like, and I got closer and I realized it's a bunch of Amish kids, just like climbing all over. They're in the middle of a barren field, having the time of their life, climbing and jumping off of this straw bale. Yeah. And it had to have been like 25 kids, little kids. I mean, they couldn't have been past my knee.
This is a big fucking straw bale.
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah, they're the big round ones, yeah. And then you just think, like, man, all the shit that's going on in the world, they're just kind of oblivious to it. They're living their life, and now we're trying to get back to like where they're at with consumption and pollution and like, oh man, those guys, they got it right, like there's something there. We can't. It'd be hard for us to revert back to something like that.
Yeah,
but you can respect it.
The Native Americans, like just fucking rolling around in tents, following the food around.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's too many fucking people here to even. I'm just glad I'm not making those decisions. Yeah. I'm glad there's roads out there to ride on. Yeah. Dirt roads, paved roads, trails. My kids are riding. Dude, the kids it's pretty wild.
I think at this point, that's the other thing too. You can raise an amazing kid, but then they get in a school system or they're around all the other shitty kids that don't have parents or weren't parented well. Like you said, all the dumb ones are having kids, Mm-hmm. And then you have a shitty kid because they're influenced by all the shitty kids around them.
So we are fighting that, and I'm on the fence about, like, we're homeschooling the kids, right? Yeah. And this is something I'm like internally, like got I'm just not settled really, because like the idea of homeschooling the kids, right? For that exact reason, like we kind of control the influence. The school is like, they're teaching the masses, so they can't just teach what your kid's like able to learn or special attention. It's like a blanket deal. They're all just trying to get them to pass the test.
I'm like holding back right now to like stop you and I know you're close, but the whole situation is kind of weird right now, but like Kelly, Kurt.
Oh yeah.
Like those kids, when you're around those kids, it's amazing how grown up they are when they talk to you, and how developed they are just on a social level and a personal level, and how respectful those kids are. And they're homeschooled, They know that land. They're out there running around and eating dirt and doing unsafe things, but they've learned to respect it, and when you show up, they talk to you like they're almost like little. They're on your level almost, They
are, but okay, so exactly, right? So that's what my kids are experiencing. We got land that we live on. They fucking hunt frogs, and dude, they just bring all the shit outside, inside, but like teaching them, like I feel responsible, like are they getting the right information? Like, I don't know, are they gonna be like when they turn 18 or when they get older? Like, are they gonna be able to? Yeah. Like as bad as we think it is, like I went to public school. Yeah. Like it's how you learn to interact with people, right?
Yeah.
So
you need
in the
social.
future, they, even though they can communicate, just like even every day waking up and going to school, like you need some structure. Right? Like to even enjoy not having it, going out on the road and traveling, like that is really awesome because you know what it's like to not have that freedom, right? So like, are we taking something like, are they going to enjoy, my dad talks about when he grew up, they always went camping, like they never got to stay in a fucking hotel, so it was a long period of time where he's like, fuck all that. Now he's like, well, maybe my dad was doing something good that I just couldn't see, and it's like, I don't even know, dude. I'm like, fuck, how am I responsible for these kids? Where do we go? I'm just glad my wife is as stern as she is about it because, I can't.
In which direction?
I can't. She wants to homeschool. Like she is dead set on it. Whereas I'm like, that seems so difficult. I can't commit to even one day a week where I'm like, for the next year I got to be here with the kids. I'm still trying to live this crazy life and sustain right for them and show them what I'm doing and whatever. But now, so she's a mom, she's a teacher, she's my wife, my lover. She's got so many fucking roles. She's just like, would it be easier on her and us as a family if the kids weren't even around?
That's the disconnection though too.
But it's also they're learning. Those are experiences. They might. I feel like you can do. It's like you can affect change from inside more than you can from the outside. So you let the kids go out, experience those things, and as long as there's communication,
they need balance for sure. But also too, I do have other friends that have children that early on they're intermixed with all these crazy environments, the bike shows and interesting people. Yeah. So they're not like a normal kid would probably be scared to approach you, when these kids are like, that's just normal, or they're more open to different people and they socialize in that way. But I totally get it because I remember being in school and there was some kids that you would meet that were homeschooled, and you're like, man, these kids are just weird socially.
Have you fucking met a homeschool person that's weird. Age that you're like, man, you turned out all right? Because I haven't, dude. That's one of the biggest things where I'm like, I don't even I guess my wife, she's done her due diligence. She's digged up stories of people that have. Yeah. But I mean.
Yeah. No, there's definitely, you gotta, like you said, it's a balance.
But then I see other kids that are my kids' age and how they act. I'm like, fuck, we're doing great.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. It's scary. It's scary to think about. I'm just happy not having them, I think, at this point, And two, there's so many of them out there that need somebody.
Absolutely.
And also too, there's a lot of, at my age, pretty much any, girls I meet, sometimes they already have their kids, but I got a little hung up on that sentence because in our world it's like I meet a range of ages, but a lot of them have kids, and those kids need fathers too. So
yeah, absolutely.
I don't need to be putting more out there.
No, that is a good point. I mean, there are a lot of kids out there. Yeah. Fuck, we just got real deep.
Yeah.
I just went off, dude. Let's go to the museum, man. Thanks for sitting down. Thanks for having me over. Glad we got to do this. Maybe we'll do it again in the future.
Yeah, it's great.
Thanks, bud.
Beautiful. Josh, thank you. One of the people we talked about more than once on that podcast was Zach from Heavy. Me and Zach will be talking over the phone later this morning, and I'm looking forward to that. You guys will get to hear that soon. I think I'm going to up the podcast game a little bit with these telephone shows since I'm not going anywhere. I can, just make some more shows happen for you. I know that there's a lot of people stuck at their homes. Hopefully you've got a shop to work on your shit. And if your shit's all caught up, I don't know, go over it again. You guys want to watch something fucking funny, watch The Tiger King on Netflix, dude. Just get super fucking baked and watch The Tiger King. Trust me, you will not fucking regret it. Shit is bonkers, dude. You couldn't have dreamed up more insane characters, dude. Even if you would have dreamed them up, you wouldn't have been able to find people to accurately portray them as well as these motherfuckers do just being themselves. It's really insane. I am also, I've been working in my shop, working on the Sportster. I got some wicked shit coming for that thing. My buddy Willie up in Utah sent me some gas and water packs for it. I'm going to try and rig that up today, work on the sissy bar luggage rack. The top ends going to brown so that those guys can put their eyes on it. I started, the valves weren't that bad. There was one that was kind of iffy, and when I went to lap it, I realized that it wasn't even lapping all the way around. Like the valve wasn't making contact to the seat all the way. So I don't know if the valve's bent or what. My first thought was, well, I'll just fucking trim this seat up, just make sure that it's round. But it's all in there right. So I cut all 3 angles again, and it still wasn't sitting, like, making contact. So I don't know if the valve's bent or what, but I think that's what it is. But just in case I'm not seeing something, it's like, fuck it. I wanted to just take it over there, but I just feel like, Dallas has got a bunch of shit going on over there. They're on lockdown. I don't feel like I'd have any trouble with, the authorities, but I also just don't want to take any chances. So send that shit off. I got other shit to do it here at the house. I am kind of worried that I don't have a dirt bike right now. My XT500 is at the shop here in Weatherford because it was driving me nuts. I couldn't get it to start. I couldn't get fire to the plug, and was trying to build that race bike, and I needed to go to that dirt bike shop. So like, fuck it, I'm just going to take this dirt bike up there and see if these guys can figure it out, which is actually a funny story because those dudes had my panhead when it was the other customers, the guy I bought it from. They had it up there. They were trying to sell it for him. They also rebuilt the top end the first time. Or not the first time, but when I got it, it had a fresh top end from them. And homeboy didn't retard it or some shit and kick it, and it kicked back and broke his leg. Like the main guy up there, David, who I actually didn't go podcast with the other day because he's got like all the pre-existing conditions, and if I fucking have this shit, I would have hated to just give it to him and then him die. So I just called that one off. But my panhead broke his leg. 2 days later, his other employee was working on an XT500 just like the one I took up there the other day. It kicked back and broke his leg. So I've got both the motorcycles that broke both their legs. So that they may just be like, fuck that bike, dude. We're not working on it. I don't know. I'm going to call down there and razz them today. I've been riding my mini bike around a little bit. Fuck, I love that thing. Got the van dialed. Dude, the van went back together. I believe it's not leaking. I haven't looked that closely because, honestly, if it's leaking, I'm not fixing it. That was a fucking pain in the dick getting that goddamn timing cover on there. So haven't addressed the truck yet either, but it's running kind of funny. It's a good time for a tune-up, so start looking at that and, dude, continue working on my COVID-19 apocalyptic survival bike. All right, you guys got your build. Dude, some guys sent me some sweet builds last week, dude. Send me pictures of what you're working on in your shop. Probably won't, repost them or anything because, I don't know, that's just not what I do, but I would like to see them, dude, and talk some shit to you about them. So send them in, dude.